Well, I hope you all agree with that. I hope that's all clear and we all understood and you've been claiming that free money. I won't tell you again how to do it. Right, I shall try again. Good evening to you all. There always has to be something going wrong. Hello to Ugly German Truths, Demon Orb, Factart, Golden Skeptic. Yes. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus. Good evening to you, sir. Number six, a patron of mine. Oh, I hope I'm not getting buffering. That just paused for a moment. Oh, me ears. What's up with your ears, 9? Too loud? Too quiet? Have I screwed up again? Oh dear, there's always something. Christopher Bell, hello. Timo, you're right. That unfortunately, unless you red lips, you don't know how to claim that free money. The means of which doing I shall not explain again. Actually, excuse me, Colon has just posted. Oh no, that's old. Forget that. Sorry, misleading people. Bo Nielsen, hello. Dark Knight, thank you. Audio's now working. And Dark, did I ever say you are awesome? That guy is on all my comments, all my streams, always positive. It's always good to see Dark. And I know that you are a Christian man. So I really hope that this Christmas is especially special for you and your family. So who else we got? Nelpinion. Yes, hello. I've seen you bumping around in the chat tonight. Appreciate you've got a couple of kids to deal with. But if you are around and have a mic and headset, jump into the arena and we'll get you on live chat. So who else have we got? Anti-Hervensalo. Is that correct? I don't know. Golden Skeptic. Geronism. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Incidentally, I don't know if people saw the Chris the Gate guy, now Chris the ISS guy. I did a video. He did a video. I debunked. He has now done a debunk of my debunk, or so he thinks. He's claiming that I agree with him. I don't. But to be honest, he seems like a nice guy, and I can imagine having a sensible conversation with him. And so I'm reaching out. I've been offering him my Discord server and email address. I'd like to get in touch, and perhaps, depending how he feels, we can either have a debate or one of my nice fireside chats. Not done too many of those because, to be honest, there's not too many at the Flat Earth side who seem pleasant enough to talk to. He does seem like one, so I'd like that. Hello, No Name. Who else have we got in here? I hope I haven't missed anyone. And if people can keep an eye out, I've tried to set up bots to pop messages in the chat every now and then, but I'm not convinced. I just did it quickly last night. I'm not convinced I got it sorted. So if any of them come up, saying things like subscribe, like this channel, send buckets of money to Mr. Sensible, whatever, please let me know. And then like, subscribe, and send me a bucket of money. So tonight, why tonight? Why not? It's looking at my chart. It's the last chance before Christmas. Haven't got No Name. Haven't got any videos made for tonight. I've already got one video made for after Christmas, a potential topic for another. But it's coming up to that time where it's all going to get a bit frantic because of this wedding, which is looming. It's only, where are we now? We're 23rd. It's about 3.5 to 4 weeks away. So it's going to get manic. Dean Smith, I love Chris the Gate guy as well. Paul Reap, hello to you, sir. And Merry Christmas. Yeah, Dark, that would be great. I'd love to chat to you if you get your headset after Christmas. The Bard. There's an idea. Should there be willing participants? Love to see a debate where participants defend the other's views. That'd be quite. I have seen that done once. I don't know whose channel it was on, but it's quite hard because you almost don't want to win. April Van Ryan. Have a sensible Christmas, everyone. I echo those sentiments, and good evening to you, April. Yeah, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? But it's hard to defend. I know that they would say the same, but it's hard to defend what you know is wrong, or to argue the case for something that you know is wrong. I guess lawyers have to do that all the time now. Perhaps we need some Globe Earth lawyers. Still none of those messages popped in. They'll probably take a few minutes. Just have to see. Hello, Glober Mom. Good to see you in here. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. Oh, had a long shift at work today, and I've got some crap shifts coming up. I'm working tomorrow from 4 p.m. until 1 a.m. Christmas Day, which is bad enough. Then I've got a 12-hour turnaround, and I'm back in at 1 p.m. Christmas Day until 10 o'clock at night. So not really much Christmas. And I think my Christmas dinner very likely will either be some sandwiches or maybe a pot noodle. And that's it. I have a friend waiting. Okay. Let me go drag my friend in. My friend needs his microphone on. Let's drag him in and see who we got. Hello there. Now Pinion, if you'd like to switch your mic on and say hello to the stream. Oh, hold on. I'll get the sound wrong again if I'm not careful. Okay, try now. Are you in there now? The sound is on. His mic isn't. Hello now. Switch your mic on, if you can hear me. Perhaps he's just getting himself set up ready. We'll just see. Yeah, gone skeptic. It's rotten, isn't it? If I was just working Christmas Day 1 till 10, that would be pretty rotten. But having a fast turnaround, I mean, I'm going to get home at nearly 2 in the morning, and I've got to leave at 12 midday to go back to the next one. So, now can't activate the mic. Okay, now let me try something else, because it could be a permissions problem. Let's just see. Try it now, see if that will let you. Because I've just hopefully given you a bit more permissions. Give it a try. See if we can get you in there. Ugly term and truth. Talking about vacation days. Yeah, it's pretty poor, but never mind. These things happen. At least I'm not going to have to put up with loads of rallies. Push to talk. I don't think I got it set up like that, Colon. Let's have a quick look. Sorry, everybody. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Okay, permissions. I can't see push to talk on this channel. I don't know quite. Colon, can you just pop into the Fireside Chat, just say hello, and then you can clear off again if you want. I just want to see if it works for you, because then we know that it's likely to be a permissions problem. Hey, it's working. The Streamlabs messages are coming in. Yay! It makes sense. Tell others about Mr. Sensible's channel. How wise. Still don't know what is wrong. Colon, can you speak?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so it's got to be something else.
Oh, he's gone on bike now.
Oh, hello now. Hello. Mr. Nalpinion. Hello, Liam Hodgetts. The Bard, good evening to you. And Tusk. Nalpinion, hello. I'll tell you what, let's try in the other room. I'm going to drag you to the other room. We'll try in there. See if it works in the arena. Hello now. Hello now. Hello now. Can you try again? Sorry about this, everyone. I know it's not very interesting just to see me shouting hello, but there we go. I don't know quite what the issue is because he has permissions. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, he's got all the permissions that he should need. Right, Colon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the fireside chat, see if you're able to talk with now, okay?
Will do.
Thank you. Oh, I was just about to move you. Right, so I'm back with you guys out there in the, I was going to say the real world, the real internet world. So who are we at? 9 o'clock. Sounds like I don't think that was Nalpinion wrapping presents. I think that was Colon's noise coming through. Oh yes, No Name's starting a new petition. Stop censoring Nalpinion. Absolutely. If we're lucky, he'll come and sing us a song. Hello, Bry. Tiffany Hall. Good evening to you, love. Hope you're okay. And Nails077. Yes, change the name of the stream to Bold Guy Shouts Hello at the Camera. And we're fine. What do you mean, Bold Guy? Do you know what? I'm thinking that maybe for the new year, dreadlocks. What do you reckon? If I put in a bit of effort. Hello, Casual. Good to see you out there, sir. Anyway, this stream, I've got nothing in particular planned. It's just a stream. Let's see how it goes. I'm happy to answer some questions. If you have a question you want to ask me, just at Mr. Sensible, and I'll try and answer them as honestly as I can. There's a couple of things I won't cover. I won't cover 9/11 conspiracies. I won't talk politics, although I'm a very political person, but I don't want to do it on my channel. And of course, I reserve the right not to answer anything that I feel either may dox myself or I just don't want to answer. But I'll do my best. And I realise I've got the chat up there. Where are we? Flat Earth Aussie Jesus. I've missed this conversation. No, Ross. It is a spinning ball. You should know because you're having to hang on because you're at the bottom of it, mate. Speaking of which, Mr. Sensible, the Bard. Speaking of which, do you have a PO box that we can send gifts to you? I'd love to be able to send a gift. Promise it won't be a glitter bomb. The Bard, to be honest, I've never thought of that, but that's very kind of you. Perhaps I'll look into that and see if I can do that, but thank you. Tusk, sage and walnut, or tarragon and mushroom stuffing for wood pigeon. I'll have to say, I've never tried wood pigeon. I'll be honest, I love meat. I'm a real carnivore, but I've never really fancied sort of gamey sort of meat. But I think I would probably go for the sage and walnut. That sounds really nice. Now, Pinion, let's try again. Okay, let's try dragging you in. Hello, now, Pinion. Can you hear me? Got to wait for him to take his mic off again now. All you got to do is just shout when you're ready now. You might hello. No, you're muted again. Now you're unmuted. Make your mind up, pal. Are you there now? You do know you have to talk. I don't know what the issue is here. We've never had this sort of issue before. I don't know. Now, I'm going to put you back in with Colon. Hold on. Hello. Have you been able to talk in here, Nalpinion?
Yes, I can speak in here.
You can speak in it. Well, let's talk in here then. Okay. And I'll have to sort out the problems with the fireside chat another day. So, everybody, this is Mr. Nalpinion, who did a submission for my 1 minute debunk videos a few days ago, wasn't it now?
Yeah.
But then we were chatting and he had the music vid, which I loved. and I had a closer look. I'd had a look at his channel, but I had a closer look, and I thought there was some brilliant stuff on there. And so I asked him if he would mind if I mirrored his channel to help push his channel, and you agreed, didn't you?
I did. I certainly did. First, I must say here, I feel like I'm like a flurf or something that can't handle technology, audio problems connecting. I don't feel good about it. But this is actually the first time I'm using Discord for audio, so I'm kind of a noob there.
That's quite all right. I mean, I'm still screwing things up. Look at the start of this stream. I didn't even switch on my mic. So it's good to talk to you. So we mirrored your video, and you've got a nice little bunch of subs from it, which is great. I guess
fantastic.
Yeah, and I guess quite a few of those people will be people who are listening now. So
yeah, I think so. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. It's been fantastic to get feedback for the things I've done. I've been putting out videos for about a year now. The videos that I put out a year ago, I sort of looked at them again today because I started to see people were watching them and commenting on them.
Oh, good.
But I I sort of feel embarrassed about them because I feel like I have changed my way of producing videos, how I tell a narrative or a story, and I've shortened things down. So I'm almost embarrassed for people to watching them now. But it's still fun to see that I myself have progressed. And it's fun to see that people have still like them. So I'm really happy, and I couldn't be happier. It's all thanks to you.
No, I tell you, it's my pleasure. I know that when I started, I had some of my stuff mirrored, and that really helped me. And it's a great community. We do help each other out.
Yeah, it really is a great community. I agree.
Because the hard thing is to get your channel out there. Get a number of people watching it, then it's sort of it's an accelerating process. It's going to depend partly how much content you can produce. I don't mean as in sheer volume, but regularity.
Yeah.
So do you have some content planned?
I do have content planned. I don't want to go into too much detail,
keep it secret.
But I have. I do. I'm in a research phase right now. I have 4 or 5 ideas.
Brilliant.
Usually that's what I usually do, and then I scrap things that I don't like. But right now I think I have 4 really good ideas, and 1 idea that might be as good.
Well,
and I also have a colleague, people that have seen the older videos might have seen him, and he has been super busy at work lately.
Oh.
But now we have talked about it, so during Christmas we will meet up, and we plan to do our new style format for 2020, and we're both excited. So I would like to introduce my colleague Jan to everyone next year.
So Bjorn?
Jan.
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 Okay. John. Okay. Now, Penyon, I would like to introduce you to someone else. One of those very people, by stroke of coincidence, who encouraged and helped me at the beginning, has just dropped into the Discord channel. I'd like to introduce you to Jut Monk the Drunk Monkey.
Oi, oi!
Hello, Jut.
How you doing, bro? You alright?
Not so bad, thanks, sir. This is
good.
This is now Penyon. I don't know if you caught the mirror, the Christmas song.
I have seen it but not watched it.
Okay, yeah. Well, Nell Penyon is one of the guys who submitted for the 1 minute debunk videos.
Okay. Yeah. I have seen Now Opinion's name around. I have, but I'm quite a busy person. Don't get to watch everything, and I have as you know, I watched your videos, but I don't always get to see them on. You're like, if you watch that one, I'm like, no. But if you watch that one, yeah, I've seen that one.
It's difficult.
It's so difficult. Before I was a creator, I used to watch everything, no problem. But like when you're a creator and whatnot, then it just gets to a point where it's like, even your closest, you're like, yeah, they're asking you if, someone's lighting with a Zippo in the background. What are you smoking, man? There's a monkey. I'm trying to behave.
You're being excellent. No, now
But
pinning.
yes, yeah, I will get around to it. I will now making that my next video to watch for sure.
Excellent. It'll be worth it. Now Pinning's got a great channel there with some good stuff. But now you should check out Jutmonk the Drunk Monkey's channel at some point, and you will see how massively different Jut's style is than, well, just about everyone's, isn't it?
Well, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, sorry. Say again now.
see.
I'm sorry. I'm familiar with Jack Monkey, at least from the Chills, right?
Oh, the shields.
That's
yeah.
right.
Have you? If you've watched any of my videos, some of them are a little bit because like people brandish the word like ad hom attack, and sometimes, I mean, I debunked all 200 proofs of Eric Dubé, and then I debunked a few more, and I'm just thinking, I'm just repeating what everyone else says. So, you know, I'm finding the right word without swearing. But so now I just insult them. I insult these globe-denying, backward-thinking morons that haven't got any grip on reality whatsoever. I mean, either they've lost the plot, they're too ignorant to understand it, or they're just lying, cheating scumbags. Either way, they're wrong.
Actually, Jut, I must admit, you were hosting the Conspiratard Cheese Awards for me a couple of nights ago. What a shame the video camera battery ran out just as you were.
I know. I was watching it die as I was saying it, and I thought, I'm not even going to get to say what I want here, am I, man? Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah. Oh, well, next time, eh?
No, actually,
hey, I'll tell you what, I can do it now. I can go off now.
I'll tell you what, Jut, let's leave that till just at the end, shall we?
All right, then. When the battery's dying again.
No, actually, Jut, and now, the Bard has just asked an interesting question. Perhaps we can have a chat about this. It says, I'm sure you've heard that the President, Donald Trump, has signed the Space Force into an actual branch of the American military. Ignoring the politics, what is your opinion about a Space Force? And he was talking about it being the new frontier for war and so on. What do you think about that, guys?
Yeah, scary. Very, very scary.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That is scary, and also I think it might be against what we actually wanted when we said that no nation should own, other heavenly bodies like the moon, for instance. Right. And this is very close to, this would be close like that. I don't really like military forces, with military purposes in space. That cannot end well.
But also, I think I don't know quite what he expects to do, because you're not going to have battles up there like you have battles across battlefields here.
No, it won't be like that.
Because
it'll just be being able to fire a particular type of laser to blow something up
knock out each other's satellites. But I think they can probably do that without. Well, I'm not quite sure what he thinks he's gaining. Quite a long time ago, Thunderfoot did some stuff about that and was talking about the actual physics of it. The amount of energy it costs to lift stuff into space, and then what benefit would it give you using that as a military spying? Yeah, being able to spy, that's obvious advantage. But weapons, there's probably no advantage. I'm not being funny. You could win a nuke over.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you're right. I mean, the time that it takes to launch, some kind of missile from our country up into the stratosphere, into space, and those intercontinental ballistic missiles and whatnot. There's not really that much advantage there, I don't think, but no. It depends on the type of weaponry used, I guess, I mean, they could send, like, electromagnetic pulses or something, who knows the possibilities. But then you're looking at, it might not be a direct explosive hit that kills lives, but it might be something else that can, just disable networks and put countries to its knees
You do
purely because they can't communicate.
You do that with an EMP anyway, electromagnetic pulse. You don't need to go into space to do that.
Yeah, you don't know, but like they might develop ways of just like then directing that energy.
Well, it could be.
There might be
Who
other
knows?
in space.
It's all sci-fi, but you get a lot of science fact from science fiction. A lot of things. Look at watch 70s shows of people like talking face to face. And now you can do it face to face with FaceTime. Simple things.
Do they please simple minds like you?
Oh man, simple mind. They're all right. Yeah, they've had a few good hits, but dear, oh dear.
So any other?
Talking
views
about
on it,
sci-fi, I can mention one more thing about that subject.
please do.
So, talking about sci-fi, I read a few years ago that I don't know how true this is, but that, for instance, China had plans. Not that they will actually do it, but they're thinking about it. To when they want to harvest material here on Earth, when they can't do that anymore, they could potentially do that from asteroids or meteorites,
Yes.
whatever. If they could catch one of those things and harvest, catch it for a while, take whatever they want from it, and then take it down to Earth. Obviously, that would be like striking gold or striking oil or something like that. It's obviously very valuable. To have a military power up there to maybe stop other countries from doing that, or just making sure that everything is okay. Yes, to be present or to scare other nations to do crazy things might be a good idea for some people. So there might be sci-fi reasons for someone to have military forces in space.
Well, yeah, I guess it that could be. But I think basically he's breaching what's you alluded to it, Chet, about at least I think it was you, Chet, about the fact that no one should have control, like the moon and so on.
Certainly not of the moon. No,
Yeah,
it's
otherwise it's just started a new race, like we had the weapons. The nuclear arms race, the space race, and now if he starts militarizing space, it just means that other countries will do the same. You're not gaining anything. Better to maintain it all as everybody agrees not to. Although I suppose everyone's going to do something secret anyway.
Yeah, I mean, also as well, it's like, where does it stop? I mean, why should? All right, so okay, we say right. Well, we colonize this part of the moon, as Russia. This is ours, and blah blah blah, and it happens because it happens. Country comes up and says, "No, we want to use this. What are you going to do about it? What? Do you want to get a war over it? I mean, where's it? How does this turn out? And then where does it stop? Yeah, but then where does it stop? Because, okay, so you're talking about the moon, which orbits the Earth, but then, well, Mars doesn't belong to us. That's another planet, mate. So...
But the thing is, with the space race, I mean, that's one area where, after the initial race, countries from whatever political persuasion have worked together. Like the International Space Station. I mean, the vast majority is Russian and American, and lots of other countries, like UK as well, have contributed certain things. And of course, that's exactly what it's like with Antarctica. That's what the Antarctic Treaty is basically saying.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's the only way mankind can be successful, is to work together. Fuck all the borders. Once you're in space, there is no borders.
No, we don't want any.
And that's the only way we can achieve this globally, is to work together, because this is a massive thing, and obviously we probably many people watching, do like science and do follow and do watch, you know, the possibilities of what we could do and why we're doing what we're doing now, because, you know, maybe one day we do know that the Earth isn't going to be here forever, and therefore if we're not wiped out, then we're going to get to a certain point and accept our fate, or no, are we going to try and get off this planet and see where we can go from there, you know, if we haven't already populated Mars and terraformed it, and you know, and that's just basically another stepping stone to thinking right now where one of the moons on Jupiter as the sun expands, you know, I mean, well, it's way out there, isn't it?
We've had this sort of topics come up before, and I'm a big because I had a chat with Mrs. Sensible, and she she basically thinks that a lot of space exploration and investment is a waste of money because there's so many things that need doing here on Earth, and I can see where she's coming from. But
yeah, I agree.
But long
in a sense.
But long term, we can't turn
our back on it.
No, we can't turn our back on it. But we need to expand. We need to be in more than one place. It only takes one, dinosaur killer, and that's it for us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we can't turn our back on this, because by turning our back on this is accepting our fate that, well, one day, regardless if we even get that far, this planet will end. One day. I mean, it's a long way away. But, you know.
Hugh Jarsz has just commented, amazing, I've been listening to Jutmonk for more than 10 seconds and he hasn't used a swear word once.
Yeah, I'm not allowed when I'm on this channel to swear as much as I would flipping well like to now and again. But, you know, I can be professional.
Perhaps you should invite me onto your channel sometime. Maybe you'll see if I'll swear.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. But you'd love to let go, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we'll do that. I'll tell you, we'll definitely do that. 100%. Okay, you can let yourself go. We'll have a party, man.
So what do you think about all this then now?
Well, what I like about science is that it doesn't actually have any borders.
Yes.
It seems like scientists in every nation always speak the same language and they can always get along well. And that has been the case, you know, you think about what happened after the Second World War, how they could, leave all this together, and they can, leave Nazi Germany and, form the new space program, for instance. They could work together in the name of science. And that's how you always have to work like that. That's why I dislike nationalism so much, because I don't think that's a way to go forward.
Yeah.
I think the opposite. That's the way to go backwards. It has always been like that in all cultures and countries on the earth.
Sorry, can I hear wolves in the background?
Yeah, you can hear number 6. Number 6, come on in. Say hello.
Sorry about that. I was just playing around and I saw this, so I'll get out if you need me to.
No, this is just a chill hangout, You're very welcome. Guys, number 6 is one of my newest patrons.
Oh, fair play, man.
Just at the dog park with the dogs.
Oh, the dogs. I was like, whoa, so hang on a minute, there's wolves in the background. What the bleeding hell are we going to
do? So, number 6. Obviously, I'm not trying to push for anything you don't want to share, but is there anything you want to tell us about yourselves, where you are, what you do? Have you got,
I'm a teacher in Chicago. I teach in the inner city. I teach second grade, like in my video I said.
In portrait mode?
Yeah, of course, because that's the only thing Flurfs understand. So I had to figure it had to be that.
Absolutely. I thought that was inspired. And very scary teacher you are.
I'm a great guy. I just have to be a little bit harder on him sometimes.
Well, thank you very much for the submission to the 1 minute debug.
I appreciate it. It gave me a chance to actually try it out and see if it worked, and it is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, is that the first vid you made for YouTube then?
Yeah. Everything else on my channel is like dance recitals of my daughter and my dogs. That's it.
Got you. Do you think you'll do some more debunk stuff then?
If I see something, I'll do it, but I don't have the time. It takes a lot of time, and it's a lot of video editing that you guys do. The 1 minute, one shot is my deal.
Yeah, and did you do that in one take?
Yeah, one take.
Wow.
Yep.
Good.
Just like Sinatra, one take and in out.
Yeah. Well, I find that when I'm doing my videos, a lot of the stuff I think, right, I want to say so and so, and I'll do that bit in one take, and then there'll be something else, and I'll just keep getting tongue-tied, and I'll do it over and over and over and over again before I get it right.
Yeah, that does happen. That's why I was dragging at the ending, and I just rambled, and it's like, okay, I got to just cut it out. I mean, in college, I learned to edit on videotape, and like all this new stuff just blows my mind.
It's quite incredible, isn't it?
I don't even know how to even begin to start touching it, but it seems so much easier.
Yes.
Mr. Sensible, can I just jump in here, because it seems like I need to go and be a dad.
Yes.
Because my daughters are really looking forward to Christmas tomorrow, which we actually celebrate on the 24th.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
24th in Sweden, yes. So yes, I have to jump off. But before that, I just want to say a huge, big thank you to you for making my channels get noticed. In the community. I really appreciate it. It was really fun speaking to you here tonight.
Thank you, and it's been great to have you on here. You will always be welcome, and I'm really and honestly looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Let's see what I can do.
Good. Well, you take care and have a great Christmas.
Have a great Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And he's out, and we've got someone else coming in. We've got BardTale, another new name. Hello to you, Bard.
Well, hello to you as well.
And how the devil are you, sir?
Oh, tired. But that's the nature of my job.
Oh, is that something you can share, or I'm not pushing?
I drive trucks. Not too sure how else I can share that.
You sound American, so I guess you're called semis.
Yes, we call them semi-trucks, big rigs, 18-wheelers, basically.
I did that as well for around a year or so. I love driving them.
Oh, yeah. And I've never driven. I know over in Europe, y'all got the cab overs, and I'd love to drive one, but we got what's called long noses over here.
Yeah, we
call
those
noses.
Bull noses.
That makes sense. But yeah, my Christmas is basically going to be spent in South Carolina, waiting for my load and everything.
So I do apologise. I don't know if I've seen you on comments of videos or whatever before, because some people use different names for different things. So you may be BardTale here and something else elsewhere.
I am. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, but I'm not pushing for that, because it might be that you don't want it known that you've got a different name.
I understand. I am simply the Bard on YouTube.
Okay, I have seen you then. I think I've responded to you, haven't I? That sounds
a couple times.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you jump in here, sir.
Well, it is a pleasure, and thank you for the open invite.
Yeah. This is a pre-Christmas chill out, really.
But it's not often I get to join the YouTubers that I listen to almost everybody while I'm driving. It makes the day go by so much easier, and you are very entertaining to listen to.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So I'm listened to in trucks across America. There's news for me.
Yeah. Let's see. You, FTFP, the whole crew basically. It's been a long day. My brain don't work so well.
Oh dear.
Team Skeptic, etc., etc.
Oh yes.
Been a long year, bro.
Yes.
Sorry,
man.
guys. I've just responded to something in the chat. I might as well say, Golden Skeptic, you've commented that one of your comments was taken down. I don't know what the comment was, and I also don't know if it was automated removal, because that's been switched on for the first time today. If so, and it's if it's being overreactive, I apologise. But if you want to come on my Discord and drop me a message and tell me what your comment was, then perhaps we can chat about it. Okay, well, I'd rather sort it out than have you upset. Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry guys, what were we just saying?
Well, I don't know, but I see that Streamlabs has banged out a few,
Okay.
mainly Flat Earth, Aussie Jesus.
Right, I think I'm going. So what I'll do, because it's the first time I've tried using it, it's obviously a bit oversensitive, for which I apologise. I'll quickly try and take that off. If I can find out where it is. It's a bit new to me. Actually, I can't see. Chat alerts. Can't see the modding thing. User management. Oh, I don't know.
If you can't see it, just do a backflip.
Do a backflip. Word protection. Right, I have switched it off. Hopefully that will kick in straight away. So I do apologise, Golden Stream, and anyone else, if you've had any comments that have been auto removed by Streamlabs. I'll need to look at that a bit more closely. Haha, Tusk has asked me, what's my favourite record of the year? Or did I stop listening to new music in the 70s? Very funny. Actually, 80s is my big music. Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, thank you. 80s is my big musical period. What about you, Bard and Judd?
Well, for myself, I grew up, my parents taught me hippie music, and from there I branched into the 80s hair bands, and then the alternative in the 90s, and now listen to just about everything.
And Judd?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I don't know, some of you may know I'm a DJ. My dad was a DJ through the 70s, 80s, and like very early 90s. So I was brought up around all sorts of music, but then my mum remarried to an older guy. So I was listening to 50s as well, and stuff like Sam Cooke and Little Richard, and so brought up around all sorts, along with Bob Marley, Pink Floyd, people like that. Stone Roses was more my era, and from then on with Oasis and Pulp through the 90s, that sort of thing. But I like absolutely everything.
Yeah,
if there's talent in there, and I just seem to be attracted to talent. If it's talented, it will grow on me, and I'm just like, actually, yeah, that is really good. So I'm very, very open to music.
Yeah. One thing I found out here recently, I really like cover songs simply because I like hearing the pure quality of the voice as opposed to it being synthesized, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like Sam Cooke. I mean, what an amazing voice singing "A Change is gonna come." A change is gonna come. A change. I think it was not one of it, but yes, what an amazing voice.
Yeah,
and people like Adele later on. I mean, you could go on, on and on.
What's her name? Who only did 2 albums and then died of drugs overdose?
Amy Winehouse.
That's the one. Absolutely incredible. Her voice is just amazing, and yet when she talks, she sounds common as muck, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
But how sad that is. I can't believe how good her music is.
She's very, very, very talented.
That she is.
Tusk says the best record of the year is Strigoi, Abandon All Faith. Never heard of them. Sorry, Tusk.
No, I haven't.
I would say my go-to is Meatloaf.
Oh yeah.
You can make fun of him all you want.
No, I won't make fun of him.
He has an amazing voice, and even though he busted his vocal cord several years ago and had surgery, a lot of his older stuff still is amazing.
I was listening to Paradise by the Dashboard Light the other day. Love that song.
I'm trying to think what that is.
I'm not going to play it on here.
No, don't doubt it. But I tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a shilling here. Sorry, it's just on the subject.
Yeah,
it's just on the subject.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a live DJ stream probably looking at fortnightly at first, and it's going to be along the lines of that because I was a rave DJ, played like all sorts, like hard house, drum and bass, and garage, UK garage. So I'm gonna, and old school as well. I love to play it all behind the scenes as well. From soul, funk, disco, house. I've done R&B live, even though I can't stand it. But requirements and whatnot. So I'm gonna do these streams. See how it goes.
Just with regard to your channel, how does
That'll be through the shills though, not through my channel.
Okay, but how does that? Think about all the copyright issues. How does that work?
Well, it doesn't seem to be such a problem with dance music.
Okay.
So, with especially sort of underground bootleg, sort of hard house and trance, and this stuff that there's not an issue with that. It's obviously only if you're going to start playing things like Jamiroquai and like well-known disco stuff, then that's a bit different. But I don't know that's something we'll think about at a later date, but for sure, I know that I would get away with playing a full set of a certain style of dance music, and there would be no copyright issues there because, it just wouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
Well, Phil Blacker has said, "I'll be up for that, Chuck." So you got one.
Well, I've already spoke to him about it. We're. He knows what I'm talking about. We've already chatted briefly, and it's something that probably will happen next year. But I hope it'll be good fun. Once we've got a certain amount of followers and that, and we might just get. I'll push it through other angles, and who knows, man? And then we might, get some DJs on that, and go from there. Either work or it won't.
Well,
but it'll be fun either way.
Try.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm just eating a rather nice chocolate.
Oh, right. Well, I thought you was doing something. You was either eating, burping, or having another cheese sandwich.
So, Bard, what are you going to be hauling to? Was it Carolina? Did you say?
Yes. Long story short, I'll haul junk mail.
And
I'm proud of it. But I'm not trying to advertise or anything like this. Before I got into, well, no, I work for a national carrier.
Yeah.
My account is specifically for another company that they are one of the United States' largest commercial printers, and they supply advertisements, coupons, the publisher's clearinghouse letters, all types of what everybody considers junk mail to the different post offices and newspapers and stuff like that. And before I got onto the account, I never thought of how much money is tied up into something that somebody takes maybe 3 seconds to look at and throws it away.
Yeah. Well, it's a living for you. I cannot and don't blame you for it, but I must admit I despise junk mail.
I have no idea how it would work in the UK, but here it's basically a customer. Let's say Walmart, for example, and they want a whole bunch of those little newspapers printed. They'll contact one of the commercial printers. The commercial printer will contact one of the trucking companies to haul it to where it needs to go.
Yep.
And then it's distributed out, and that's not where the money chain ends, by the way. It's thrown away, and then it's paid to be hauled off and then recycled.
Yeah.
So,
it would be. Do you know what would be a lot easier though, Bard? That's to work out everyone down that chain who gets paid, and every company how much they earn, and just shuffle the money around. And they don't bother printing it. You don't bother hauling it. It's not delivered. They don't have to throw it away. It's not collected. It's not recycled. But everyone's happy because they're getting the same money anyway. That's my theory.
I mean, just looking at my end of it, I know a typical load costs anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 to ship.
The
so
cost of moving it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just my little part of it. So, I mean, there's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing it, I was hauling all sorts of things, and we have what's called multi-drop, where you literally go into, let's say, several warehouses or whatever, and delivering something. I never really liked that. What I preferred is longer distance trunk runs, so from point A to B, and that's it. And you either wait for the trailer to be unloaded, or you'd swap a trailer and drive back again. And there was a run that I was doing for a food distribution company.
Ooh, running a reefer trailer is
reefers, yeah.
I got out of reefer trailers, and my big dislike for reefer trailers is and this is all slang, and I apologize if nobody understands.
Yeah, let's tell them. A reefer is a refrigerated unit.
Yeah, I'd go to the slaughterhouses and go to the cold storage facilities, and I hated going to those places because they always had odd hours.
Yeah. Well, one of these times on this food delivery company, I had a regular contract for a while, which was basically pick up a trailer, drive it. It was only about 4 or 5 hours, so I guess it's fairly short for the sort of thing you're doing. But literally, drive it for that period, stop and drop the trailer while I had a break, and then haul another trailer back. And those trailers had to be in those places for the next day or the next delivery or whatever. And one of the times I hauled a full Arctic trailer with one tray of bread in it, which you could have put on the back seat of your car. So
wow.
But then I've hauled some interesting things. I hauled a mobile Guinness bar. That was worth an absolute fortune. It's worth the thick end of £500,000, £500,000.
With the last company I worked for, of course, refrigerated trailers, and the most expensive haul I ever did with that company was swinging beef. Literally, I backed up to the door.
Yeah.
And they were slaughtering the animals right before they were putting them on the trailer.
Oh no!
And as I was leaving the place, the trailer was bleeding.
Oh man, that sounds awful.
It is. If you don't have a strong stomach, but each one of those carcasses cost a pretty penny.
Yeah. No, most of my stuff was either chilled or ambient food. I did do quite a lot of reefer work, but I also did some deliveries for the Ministry of Defence, various military things, not weapons, but just general stores, including to some naval bases. So I got to drive onto those places. And one time, from Portsmouth, one of our major naval bases, I actually brought back an anchor. A ship's anchor.
Oh,
it was
wow.
huge. But
wow.
But I really enjoyed it. I'd happily sit there listening to the radio while I was driving along.
Mr. Sensible.
Yes.
Listen, look, I promised you I wouldn't swear. Can you please get these two henchmen's guns out of my face?
What henchmen's guns?
Well, they're saying if I swear, I've got it. I won't swear. Just get rid of them.
Chuck, you been on the source, mate?
No, man. Do I ever? I mean, like my name is Chuck Monk, the what? Monkey?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, I'd be lying to you all, wouldn't I?
Well,
come on, use your brain. Or have you lost it along with the flat earth,
Hey, Bard, have you come across Chuck before?
I don't think I have.
Oh, you'll have to instantly, Chuck, and for Now Opinion as well, in case he's listening. I'll put a link to Chuck's channel and Now Opinion's channel in the description. Bard, do you have a channel?
I don't. I've thought about doing something, but I really don't have time.
I can understand that.
I'd love to do something. I don't want to be trucker related though, because there's too many trucker channels out there already.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'm just going to drop the fact that BardTale was one of the people joining us. Okay.
Thanks so much, man, for doing that for me. Do you know I picked up a few subs from doing your stream, your premiere the other night, the Conspiratard Cheese Awards. I enjoyed that as well.
I'm glad. But how do you know it was from that?
Because I know it's from that, mate, because it sits around for a while, that goes out, and when people, 20 subs down the line are going, Mr. Sensible sent me and how I missed
nice.
you, I spat all over my computer.
Oh, no.
I'm like, well, at least I'm making someone laugh with my absolute destroyal of these idiots.
Well,
because no one else tells them what they really are.
No, that's true.
And, if you want to know what they really are, go and have a look at what I say, what they really are. But I can't say on here because they're still here, them bleeding geezers with the guns, and just going to bite one's nut and then poo on the other one.
Well, just talking about what we were hauling, Bard. Where is he? Can't see
here.
now. Tusk said that he once had to drive a nuclear missile the lake for the country.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's cool.
Ooh. Let's see. My best friend, what is it? A couple years ago now, I believe. Back when the latest hurricane hit the Carolinas, over here in the States, there was large sections that were flooded, and he was contracted a FEMA load to go out there and deliver to a military base. With a lot of roads washed out, he had to. It was an adventure for him, but he got to where he was hired to go, and they turn around and say, "This isn't the place you need to go. You need to go down the road about 20 miles to this other place." And he's like, "Wait, how do I get there?" Yeah, with everything flooded.
And did he manage it?
He did, with a military escort.
Okay. Actually, the time when I was trucking was at the time of the Gulf War, and there were masses of contracts for truckers to ship to be driving stuff around in Iraq. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have enough experience at the time, but I was thinking, would I do it? And I don't. I mean, the money was really good. I mean, really good, but very risky. I think at least here in the States, we still hear rumors about those contracts. I have no idea where you could go to get hired on for that. Driving stuff around.
But
sorry, Nine, you've got your loudspeakers on.
Sorry, just turning it off. I'll keep quiet. I'll join in a minute.
No worries. But as rumor goes, I heard you can make about between 150 and 200,000 a year just doing that.
Yeah.
The big problem is if they're using basically civilian vehicles for this, or unarmored vehicles, I don't want to be shot at.
No. I should think that the risk and the money's gone down way compared to what it was, but there were what's it called, IEDs and stuff like that. And I know that I was talking to drivers, and they're basically saying that they were a blooming long run because they couldn't stop anywhere. So I don't know what it's like in the States, but here and across Europe there are strong rules about how long you can drive before you have to take a break and so on. But that all went out the window because basically you drove from A to B, you did not stop. And you can understand why.
Yeah. Well, question: did you run teams over there, or I mean, no disrespect when I say this, I really don't understand the size of the UK, but is the size of the continent don't warrant teams?
What do you mean?
Or not the continent?
When you're driving as pairs and swapping over, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, within the UK you wouldn't do that, but if you were driving onto and across Europe, they might do it, depending on, I guess, the urgency of the load.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of refrigerated trucks over here are teams, so that's the reason why I was asking.
Yeah, it's certainly within the UK. That's a lot rarer. Jup, mate, we're picking up your music or radio, whatever it is.
You can't be because I'm on mute.
You're not?
I am. Look, I've just unmuted, man.
No.
Seriously, I haven't got any music playing. So it's not me. There's no music playing, mate. I'm in a silent room. So you got 9oclockhero, Hugh Jarsz, come on back, man.
Oh, Hugh's in as well. Yeah, come in. Say
Yeah,
hello.
man. Come on, guys. Join the party. Let's have a chat. Colon rocks, man.
Did he just? Ah, I just heard my voice. You got me on loudspeaker. That's what it is, Jut.
No, I haven't, mate. I've got a headset on. Trust me. It's not me.
It might be that the microphone's very close to the earmuffs, and
I don't know. I've just got a headset on.
Well, Jut, when you're not speaking, Jut, your indicator is flickering on and off as it's picking up the sound.
That's weird, isn't it? 'Cause, yeah, so you're mute.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Hello, Hugh.
Greetings and salutations.
greetings.
Same to you, Hugh. First time we have spoken, sir.
Yes. I've always watched you, the last 6 months or so. You've been very entertaining.
Thank you very much. And
He is awesome.
and you're always around. You're always commenting, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who watches, likes, subscribes, and the patrons as well. Everybody.
I meant you were awesome, you plum. Get a grip. Come on, wake up. Slaps around the face and all. You're awesome, Mr. Sensible.
Thank you, Jut.
He's a great guy in every sense. He's smart. He's funny.
Don't forget,
He's got it all,
good-looking.
man. He's
Good
got it
looking.
all. Yeah, devastatingly handsome.
Hard to
I
look
tell
at
you
it.
what.
Hard
Do you
to
know
look
what?
at in
I
the
wish I
sunshine,
was
though.
his barber.
Sorry, go on, go on, Hugh.
I was just going to say, he's hard to look at in the sunshine, though.
But this was always a choice. I have shaved my head since I was about 30. Do you know why, Jut?
Most of it fell out, so you just finished it off?
No. I decided I'd be jigging if I'm going to pay barbers £5 a haircut when I could just do it myself.
Well, you can always do
Fair
what
enough.
I do is just say, just let it grow out and just occasionally take a pair of scissors and cut off the split ends.
So since your 30s, you've just never had a hairstyle, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
To the modern man, that doesn't say a lot about you, sir.
No, it's quite cool. It's very comfortable.
Oh, come
very
on.
Quick.
Come
It's
on,
very-
that's only a few years ago.
You did what?
Huh?
He did his haircut. He changed his haircut only a few years ago.
That's
Come on.
right. It's about 5 or 6, Jut.
Okay, so you're only 32, aren't you? I forgot.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Sensible, would it be beyond the realm of possibility of me being able to post a picture of my truck in the chat, maybe, if you want to see it?
In the Discord, by all means.
Okay. I mean, I got to grab my phone real quick.
Is it your own truck? Do you own it?
It's a company truck, but essentially they're going to let me retire it when the odometer flips over 450.
Okay. I'm not sure which room you're going to drop it in. Just let us know. Either general or what's the other one? Or the lounge. Doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll do it in the lounge here.
Okay, I've got that up and ready. Say hello to a few more people in here. We've got Kevin, is it? Hello. Dora and Co. Another of the subscribers. Patrons, I mean. Philosopher of Nonsense. Hello there. I've been looking at the chat. It's going up quite quickly. Adam L, good evening. Brute
It's an
Force.
exclusive club to be able to just jump in here, then, is it?
What, on
What?
the chat here?
Yeah. Am I part of the exclusive club? Am I to just be able to just step in and say hi?
Your staff, mate. Bard, I see the truck. That looks nice. What make is it?
It's a early 2018 Freightliner.
Afraid. What are the? I can't think of the name of them. The beautiful sort of 1970s.
The Peterbilts or Max
yes.
or
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, Peterbilts. And when they're all, I know it's over the top and ridiculous, but when they're all done it with a nice paint job and beautiful gleaming chrome, fantastic. But of course, you've not just got the fact you've got the nose in front. You often have a unit sort of behind, don't you, for the driver, almost like a mini room.
Oh yeah. This is going to sound typical truck driver, but if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to go buy me a 1994 Peterbilt. I think it's 470 or something like that. I'm going to take the sleeper off of it, put a condo on it after I remove the fifth wheel, and just drive it around like a mini RV.
And why not? But over here, of course, we're limited on the length, and obviously they want to maximise the trailer length. So what you've got is, as you said, a cab over, and just behind that you've got bunk beds. That's it. Certainly no room for a table and all that. You've virtually got a house behind you, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
American trucks.
No, my truck, compared to a lot of other American trucks, is what's called a short nose.
Yes.
If you notice it, the nose isn't as long.
Yeah.
But there's some trucks out there, they're really, really long. And, they got long noses and they got long tails. And these are the guys out there that are spending, $250,000, $350,000 on their truck.
But they're living in them.
Yes. These are houses on wheels.
Yeah.
Granted, in my truck, it's a house on wheels too, but it's more like a large walk-in closet.
Well, I would love to. Actually, that's one of the things I want to do. I wouldn't mind having to go certainly in one of those, as we said, the Peterbilts or whatever. Although I've no longer got a license because you had to have a medical every few years here, and I stopped driving, so I didn't bother renewing that. But I just want to do a road trip right across the States.
If you ever come over here to the States, I would be proud to show you around.
Oh, fantastic. Do you know what? I had an offer from Now Opinion. He said if ever I was in his country, I don't know if he's announced generally where it is, so I won't say, but he said if I was ever there, I've got a tour guide. It's wonderful community here.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, especially when we're all united against...
idiots.
Yes. I was being very political about it. And not offending, but you're right.
Yeah, a lot of idiots. So, have you been driving for long, and do you intend to keep doing that?
I've been driving for about 7 years now. And honestly, I've enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of, it's a job that I never thought I wanted to do until I started doing it.
Yeah, Jut, it's definitely coming from you. Yours was the only name lit up.
Okay. It says it's mute, but let me mute it in a different way.
Well,
1 minute. Sorry.
Well, you're definitely not muted on Discord. There's definitely no mic lined out on there. So who have we got in the chat? You guys in the side chat, I do apologise, we've ignored you a little. We've just been kicking, what's the word, shooting the breeze. What are you discussing? I can see Flat
Looks
Aussie
like
Jesus is in there. Sorry, someone said it looks like...
Oh, I was just going to say, it looks like Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is keeping them all entertained.
Oh, thank you very much, Ross. That's very kind of you. I'm glad you come on the channel. Actually, can I say, Ross, I really like you. I found you polite every time I dealt with you. You call me a few names.
I'll go with that.
But yeah. You call me a few names, but only the ones that are sort of light-hearted and jest, and that's cool. So, always welcome.
I mean, me and Ross do agree on a couple of things. There's nothing like a good cold beer.
Yep.
And the other thing we agree on is followed by another, So there you go, man. Cheers, FEG.
There's one interesting observation I'd like to make between the flat earthers that are prominent on YouTube. And this isn't against them, this is just an observation.
Yeah.
And I need to give a little bit of backstory for this observation, if I may. My mom's ex-husband, he's a Vietnam vet. He was messed up in Vietnam, basically. Long story short, he has full-blown schizophrenia.
Yeah.
He's not dangerous or anything like that, contrary to public opinion about schizophrenia, but he comes up with some very wild stories. And he loves to talk about these stories. And growing up listening to these stories, I'm hearing similarities between what this guy says and what, and the way he says these things with the way a lot of these flat earthers say things. And I'm just like, I wonder, we all know that my mom's ex-husband, he's schizophrenic, and he lives basically in a perpetual world of fantasy,
Yes.
and it just pretty much comes down to the idea in his case it's a harmless, no use correcting him at this point. The man's 70 years old now.
Yeah.
And let him have his fantasies. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to say in this.
I'm not entirely sure. You're just saying that because of his mental health problems, you're just saying, well, okay, he's got them. Let's just accept it.
Yeah, and I'd be very and like I said, a lot of what the way he says his stuff is the way the flat earthers seem to go on, and it just makes me wonder if a lot of them have problems, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No,
but...
I know. Well, I was looking at Daniel Pratt is one of the channels who automatically generates alerts on my Discord server, and he's producing about 4 or 5 of these 2-minute videos a day, and they seem to be getting stranger and stranger and angrier and angrier. Like you said, it's not to have a go, but I honestly think he has some mental health problems. That's why I've now steered clear of him.
I have to agree with that.
I mean, like I said,
hello, sorry.
Hello, no worries.
I think Pratt is one of the most. Let's just say out of all of them out there, I'd say that he's the one who's most likely to end up under a doctor's supervision or medical supervision.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just in my mom's ex-husband's case, and he'll even admit sometimes that he doesn't know what's real and what's not real sometimes. I mean, he doesn't hear voices or anything. He just has trouble distinguishing. Like, for example, he read he's a big fan of Robin. I think the author is Robin Cook. He's a military writer.
Okay.
He writes a lot of military books based around the military.
Yeah.
And he reads a lot of these. And if you've read any of the books, you'll hear aspects of those stories in his own stories.
Yeah.
His latest idea is that back in World War II, there were ships out in the Gulf of Mexico that were sunk. Don't know, but he says that he wants to raise money to go out there and search for these lost ships. I'm like, okay.
So he's fairly harmless.
Yeah, he's fairly harmless, but
I don't see a problem with that really. If you know that the guy's got a problem and he's harmless and he mixes a bit of fantasy and reality together, as long as you understand that that's what it is, then where's the problem? It's like when people start taking his stories seriously, which is where the flat earthers come in. People listen to this flat earth bunk and think, ooh, and I know that I'm sort of mixing things up a bit here, but there's a big difference between somebody being harmless and everybody knowing that he's got a problem and then sort of like accepting it, and people who've got a genuine problem of, I don't know what to call it, cognitive dissidence, dyscalculia, and all this preaching rubbish, and other people who are preying on other people who are looking for something to believe in, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. And actually, guys, if I can just pause you, we do have another guest, but just before we bring the other guest in, I just want to run my patron role, because patrons, I really, really appreciate it. Massive appreciation of all my patrons, including new patrons: Edwulf Sledgeverter, Opus 1, Keith Morrill, Tim Boston, Alexander Henkel, Jamie, Stephen Huxtable, Paul Reap, Surf and Number 6, and my newest patrons, Corpus Defectus, Tiffany Hall and Erebathron. Thank you all so very much. And we're back again. Patrons,
welcome back.
You're wonderful. So, yeah, let me bring in the latest joiner here in the arena, Mr. Philosopher of Nonsense. Hello, good evening to you. Are you coming in? We can hear some noise. Not sure, is there an issue there as well?
I can see he's there.
I can see he's here, but unfortunately I can't widen the strip to see if he's muted or not. Philosopher of Nonsense, if you can hear us, come in whenever you're ready, sir. I think that's
am I coming in now?
You are now. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Oh, sorry. I had to get off of my desktop PC microphone. Apparently, it's not good enough for this chat.
It's not good enough for us, no. You need quality equipment for a quality channel.
Hey, this is authentic Chinese, fake, genuine imitation.
Wow. Is it faux leather as well?
Pleather. That's pleather. It's a special thing.
Well,
made from real aardvarks.
A real what? Hugh?
Yeah.
Aardvarks.
Oddvox.
I made my microphone from aardvarks, but that didn't work too well.
Oh, okay. Well, I finally got a decent microphone. Let's just drag it onto the camera. A nice Rode microphone. Thank you, and thanks to my patrons. A vast improvement, because what I was using was the built-in mic from my £15 cheapo Logitech webcam.
I just want to ask you, Mr. Sensible, where do you find these flat earthers?
I look under a lot of rocks. And actually, I'm going to give a shout out. On my Discord, I do have a room for people to make video suggestions. And I'm always keeping an eye on that. But there is one person who has supplied me with no end of rubbish. My if you like, my head moderator, Colon. And Colon, I just want to say thank you so much. Over the past few months, you have given me so much help without ever asking for anything. And I really, really appreciate it, sir. I really do. And so Colon provides me with a lot of rubbish.
Well, let's give credit where credit is due. We do have the flat earthers making so much material for us. It's comedy gold.
But not
I'll give him that.
But not as much as they used to, though.
Well,
I don't know. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff lately. Did anyone see Pratt's new gravity debunk, where he's got a dumbbell next to a sticker?
Yes, I saw that.
So he's standing next to a sticker.
Gravity can hold this great big weight down, but it can't bend the edges of the It's like, do you understand? It's just an equation, mate, that makes sense.
But
For goodness sake, man.
The way he was saying it, it's only just holding this sticker or this paper down, but this dumbbell, it's holding down really hard. Yeah, because it's a greater mass, so the gravitational attraction is more.
Exactly,
Okay.
And it's in a mathematical equation that you can actually learn if you try.
Well, you mentioned the dumbbell holding it down. So, what else was Pratt doing?
Oh,
He had a sticker.
Yeah, you go, Chuck.
Yeah, it was like a sticker or something, or a bit of paper that was curved up at the edges, and it was going so it can hold this big weight down, but it can't bend the edges of the sticker down to be flat.
Well, if he wasn't holding
I
the
mean,
center of the
gravity just
paper
allows
down.
things to rest on the planet, and the more the mass, the heavier they are. That's all there is. There's no. I mean, come on, it's not that hard.
Well, I saw in his latest one tonight, he was having a go at Fight the Flat Earth, and I don't know the background, accusing Fight the Flat Earth of wanting to take Flat Earth's children away. I don't know what that's about, but he was saying,
Flat Earth.
yeah, but I
did a debate with I forgot the Dino guy about whether teaching Flat Earth to kids is child abuse.
I see. Okay, well, so that's where he's coming from.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He was talking about the fact that Craig, and he actually I'm not going to say it now, but he actually gave Craig's surname. I've never heard Craig's. That's Fight the Flat Earth. Never heard his surname before, so I don't know if someone has doxed Craig. Which if they have, I think that's a despicable thing to do.
It's okay. No one watches Pratt's videos anyway.
That's apart from
No
me,
one takes them
apparently. Me and
seriously.
Jut with his biggest
Unfortunately,
viewers.
I do watch the odd one. If I see, certainly if I see like a picture of a dumbbell and a sticker as the starter, and not just his usual face, then I'm like, ooh, something new. Like his barbecue and a bendy stick. So, you got to keep your ear to the ground, haven't you? And yeah.
Well, I
What
forgot.
you said.
I've forgotten what I was actually started saying. It was about science, but I can't remember. But oh yeah, Pratt was saying about how all us ballers, or all you ballers, don't do any science or whatever. And I was thinking, that barbecue with that bendy tube.
It was absolutely banging, wasn't it?
It's hilarious.
I can only feel sorry for him.
Have you seen the ones lately with his one of his sons on? One of his boys?
No.
Well, he did it as though he was talking to his two sons, explaining the difference between flat and level, and he had a big whiteboard or something showing a flat Earth and a globe Earth, but
I have seen a clip actually,
he's
but
really pushing,
no, I haven't seen it.
pushing his
I
children.
started watching that and just turned it off.
It's not pleasant, is it?
Absolutely.
Wait, hold on.
Turd.
He actually made a distinction between flat and level? I thought those were synonyms in the flat Earth world.
Oh, I can't remember, but he was basically saying you can't have have it level. That was it. You can't have it. It can't be level if it's a globe. Something like that.
Oh man, the guy is so confused. It just baffles me how he just doesn't understand stuff. I mean, why on earth does he think that sticking a barbecue and bending a tube that is going to do an extra specially big mound above the barbecue?
Because the barbecue's the same shape as the Earth, isn't it? It had a curve. So if it's supposed to curve, if it's supposed to curve on the Earth, why doesn't it curve on his barbecue? He doesn't understand.
I think I think his idea was there was more mass there, so there should be more gravity. Yeah, but not that much, mate. I mean, we're talking Mount Everest type of mass to make any kind of significant change, and even that's negligible, for goodness sake.
This is hickory smoke science.
Dork.
It's the same science where you stick a compass on a globe and say it's not pointing north.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on, philosopher. You'll have to push in a bit harder there, mate. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying this is hickory smoke science.
Well, if I may, there is one question I've always wanted to ask a genuine flat earther, and this relates to trucking. How does the flat earth model, in the absence of gravity, explain the distribution of weight within a mass?
I think that's too intelligent a question for a flat earther. I like to say, here's two things I like to ask flat earthers. One is, if the Earth is flat, according to the Gleason azimuthal map, which is only good for time zones, what are the north, south, and east-west dimensions of Australia in miles or kilometers, as observable by people who drive it? And B, if sound doesn't need a container, or if sound needs a container, I'm sorry, if air pressure needs a container, how can you hear me?
I'd just ask a flat earther what year it was and then question their answer.
Well, I just saw in the comments to one of my vids a little while before I started the stream, someone saying, "Oh, you're a religious cult and it's your funny belief," all that sort of thing, and saying this space is not a vacuum because if it was, you wouldn't be able to see stars because light light has mass, and so if it's a vacuum, there's nothing in it. So light can't travel through a vacuum.
Well, that's pretty funny because I used to work on TVs with vacuum tubes.
Well, that's
I can
true.
see the glow of the filament quite well in the vacuum tube.
I just said, well, all you need is a little vacuum chamber with an object in it. Could be anything you want. It could be a brick. If you can see it, then the light has travelled through it.
Exactly that. Which is why we can see stars, you dorks.
If somebody wants to ever do this experiment, it's a take on another experiment. You know, have a vacuum chamber and have a very viscous material in there. It could be, I don't know, that slime that you get at, you know, that novelty slime.
Yeah.
And have it in the top and have it drip down. Okay, according to her entire buoyancy thing, that slime should not drip inside of a vacuum.
It wouldn't know where to go, would it?
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, there's been, a couple of experiments throughout history, haven't there, to try and prove that there must be an ether that light is travelling through, and they've failed.
That's right. It's been
like Aries' failure was a failure for that reason, but like these globe-denying
tards,
they seem to bring it up like it isn't a failure. It's like Aries' failure. Yeah, but it's called Aries' failure, you idiot. I mean, like, why is it called Aries' failure? I don't know. I suppose it's just more denial. It's like, here's an actual photograph of our actual planet taken by an actual person with an actual camera, and somewhere there is an actual negative to this actual photograph. Fake.
I'm sorry, Colin just mentioned that I'm maybe coming in a little too hot with the mic.
That does sound a lot better, Philosopher. But Nine, I think we're getting all your breathing as well.
Oh, let me turn.
That's not me.
No. Philosopher, you sound very a little quiet, but very, very clear now. Whereas before it was
doing the Darth.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. This
worries.
mic is one of those pen mics, and it kind of has a very small sweet spot.
Well, it sounds like you got it now, anyway.
Okay, I'm thinking I gotta keep about exactly 8 inches away from it.
That'll be.
That's the way my old mic was. One of the things
8 inches per mile squared, by the way.
If you take a cotton ball and put it on the end of your mic, it should help.
Well,
okay, now I need to get a cotton ball.
Well, don't worry about it tonight. What sort of time of day is it where you are, Philosopher?
I'm on Pacific Standard Time, so it is 2:30 in the afternoon for me.
Nice.
Ooh. Nice.
I'm not from Australia, so I'm not from the future.
No.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, my bad. Australia doesn't exist.
I don't.
No, you're a paid actor, remember?
Yeah, if I don't exist, how come I pay tax?
Great laugh about it.
Nothing that they'll be telling us Japan doesn't exist.
Oh, don't tell me you believe in Japan.
No, I thought it was Scotland that also doesn't exist.
Well, there was a video, I'm not sure it was Simon Dan did a long time ago, about a guy in Scotland who didn't believe that England exists. Even though, of course, you could drive there, and he had been to London. What a twat.
I think flat earthers don't exist. How about that?
Hey, they're all CGI.
Of course, they're all NASA
computer-generated idiots. Has anyone in the side chat, has anyone got anything that they wish me and the guests here to have a chat about? We've got BardTale, We got Hugh Jarsz. We got Jutmonk, 9O'clockhero, and Philosopher of Nonsense. And as far as I can make out, only myself and Jut have channels. The others are viewers or subscribers who have very kindly dropped in for tonight.
Well, I have a Discord channel, and actually, me and Cypher are working on a new project, and we'd love to have you on, Mr. Sensible.
Hey, yeah, please DM me at some point. Let me know what sort of thing you're talking about, and I'm happy to discuss it.
Oh, yeah, I'll hit you up on Discord pretty soon.
Excellent. Just, anytime, just drop me a message, all right?
Sure, no problem.
And if I may make a shameless plug here, now it's not my channel; it's a friend's channel, and it's
Go
not
ahead.
It's not a flat. It's a gaming channel. But anyways, here sometime next year, I will be dungeon mastering a D&D game on his channel.
I tell you what, Dungeons and Dragons is something that I have absolutely nothing against it, but I've never had the time, but I've never played it. I can understand the attraction though.
It's basically interactive storytelling.
Yeah.
I remember D&D from high school.
Oh, it's made a resurgence back in the last couple of years with Critical Role, right?
No, well, I haven't been following up on D&D very much, but I had a lot of friends that play it. I just, for some reason, I never quite grasped the game as much, but then again, I never invested too much into it. There was all these books I had to read, and you know how hard books are.
Especially ones printed out by corporations,
Yeah, you never know, that ink on the paper might be some brain control chemical, like chemtrails, It's chem ink. That's what it is. It's a typeface that hypnotizes you.
Well, there's someone in the chat. I just asked if anyone's got any subjects. Gerhard Selig, where is it? Said, I'd like to hear something about Asperger. Well, I presume you're talking about Asperger's syndrome. Does any of you guys know anything about Asperger?
Well, I know it's a form of autism, but it's a functional autism.
It can be. I think
it's basically,
it depends what level you got.
Yeah, you don't pick up social cues so well from people. So, when people sort of make, they're little like they roll their eyes at something. Asperger's people don't generally pick it up as a cue, as a whatever kind of thing. They just don't pick up on things like that. They have a different, I like to say a different level of thinking, because I don't think it's a disability. I think it's actually just a different mode of thinking.
Okay. What do you think, Nine?
Well, I used to work in the care industry, and we did Asperger's and autism are related, but everybody is on the scale, and there's I don't know where I come on the scale. I'd love to know, but it's a sliding scale. And like I say, there's a sort of normal partition, and then there's outside normal. I mean, my lad's autistic, but he's high functioning autistic, if you know what I mean. So he's got other problems as well. But
Greta Thunberg would be a high functioning autistic.
Is she?
Yeah, she's got Asperger's, and people tried to make fun of her for that and stuff like that, which I really don't. That doesn't fly in my book.
Yeah.
But she's actually very intelligent. It's just like
I think that often, not always, but often goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Well, it's like what was it? Rain Man. What did he have?
I was just the film I was thinking of. Rain Man.
Yeah. Well, he was autistic. Yeah. I don't know if it was Asperger's, but he was what they called an idiot savant, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different mode of thinking. Like certain parts of the brain just don't really fire on things like social cues, but that leaves a lot more room for everything else. It's sort of like how a deaf person can hear better.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about all this, Bard? You sort of almost jumped in a couple of times, sir.
Well, I don't know. Okay, my grandniece, she's high functioning autistic.
Yeah.
Smart as a whip.
Yeah.
But I think she might have Asperger's.
What makes you think that?
Well, like I said, she's a wonderful child. She's 4 now. But you know, she picks up on a lot of concepts that a lot of other 4-year-olds usually don't.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do so well around other children.
What doesn't make friends, or
it's very hard for her to make friends.
yeah.
And now she's right now, yeah, no worries. In her stage of development, she's basically in her terrible 2s right now. So, you know, she wants to be the boss. She wants to be, you know, so it's even harder for her to make friends. That's all I really have.
Yeah. Well,
that's a difficulty with the social interactions. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
No worries.
Go on. If you make your point, Philosopher, because then I've got a couple of things to do.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first thing is just had a super chat come through from Mr. Chris Kelling, who super chatted $5 saying, "Merry Christmas to all," which is very kind of you. Merry Christmas to you, Chris. Well, in fact, I agree. Merry Christmas to you all. I hope you all have a great one, a relaxing time with your friends and family. The other thing I wanted to say is, I have just been tested for Asperger's syndrome.
Oh, interesting. Do tell.
Yeah, so that was a conversation killer for a moment.
Yeah. Suddenly tumbleweeds. You know.
Yeah.
So what led to that then, my friend?
Well, I have. First of all, let me say I have no problem. Let me give you a little bit of history. About 6-7 years ago, my daughter became very ill, and as part of that, she was diagnosed with several things, which I won't go into, but one of which was Asperger's. And we're obviously sitting in with the psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever, psychoanalyst, I don't know. And we've been having quite a bit of conversation. And she suddenly turned to me and said, "Do you know, I think you might have traits of Asperger's." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she pointed out a couple of things. So I started finding out more about it, including some online diagnosis things and lists of symptoms. And there was one online diagnosis, and I thought, well, I'll do this. And I scored myself. And I scored quite highly. So I got Mrs. Sensible to pretend she was me, knowing me like she does. And she got me scored even higher. And at the time, I was having some minor difficulties at work, things I was struggling to cope with. And I have generally been a loner. I'm very much fine in my own company. I don't like... which is why this is so odd. This whole live streaming and YouTube thing, but we'll come back to that. But I don't hang around with the guys or do anything like that.
But this is how you do that.
Yeah. But
for a lot of people, this is how they do that.
Well,
you
that's
know,
true.
and for a lot of people, this is good. You know, this is this community is unique.
Let me be clear though, Chuck. I did not think, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with me. The way I took it, and I honestly feel that it's, fantastic. Now I know why I think and feel and act like I do, because there's certain advantages to it. I've done a lot of projects around my house. I've rewired most of the house. I've replumbed a lot of it. I rebuilt a car from scratch. All sorts of things like that. Now what happens is when I think I want to do this, I can concentrate like nobody's business. Everything else goes by the by. Someone will come in, talk to me, and I'll barely notice them because I'm so on the ball with what I'm doing. Total concentration. Find out how to do it. Research. Get the best results. Compare specs. All that sort of thing, and do a fantastic. And I've done some amazing jobs. So I don't have it as a problem at all. It was just nice to have an explanation. That's why I was quite interested to ask you guys what you thought. Now, if one of you turned around and said, well, I think people with Asperger's are just, not be funny, mental idiots or something, I wouldn't have taken offence because it's your opinion.
Well, I've known people with Asperger's. It's a spectrum thing, isn't it? Some people have Asperger's and you don't really notice. You know, and unless you really get to know them, maybe. But like some of the people I know, and it's like they have Asperger's. It's like, well, I didn't know.
And it's not a problem. It's not a problem most of the time, Joe. But I had this test about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and the results are due around Christmas. It'll probably be in the new year. I asked the lady just for her gut feel, and she thought, without all the analysis that they do, she thinks possibly Asperger's, possibly something, similar. In actual fact, they don't even consider Asperger's a unique thing now. It's just somewhere else on the scale. But
it's a very wide spectrum thing, isn't it? So, it can be affected very differently in greater or lesser levels, and so it's such a complex thing.
Sorry, what?
It's unique to everyone, surely,
Gerhard Selig, who raised the point, said an explanation to what, if I may ask? Well, for me, it's mostly the social sort of things. If we as a family were going to some friend's house, I like that. I like going for a meal, chat for half an hour, and then I'm done. I want to come home. I get bored. I can't small talk for hours. And yet, look what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and thinking about it, I'm not self-diagnosing, but I'm the type of person. I'm the most comfortable in the truck.
Yep.
I could spend hours and hours and hours being with nobody else but myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not very comfortable around crowds.
Yeah.
I'm not very comfortable around crowds. But I prefer to be alone.
It's beginning to sound like a debunking trait, isn't it?
Yeah, and those could be traits, Bard. But if they are, they are. I was trying to talk and explain it to someone because one of you guys used the word normal, and not in a pejorative sense, but normal. And yeah, I would be abnormal in that I'm different than the norm. But it's more like we all have to get places. Most people use cars, but a lot of people use motorbikes. That's not the norm. But there's nothing wrong with it. It still gets you there. It's a different transport method. This is a different way.
Well, yeah, you go to Vietnam. It's all bikes. If you don't have a moped, you don't have anything.
You're nothing.
Can I jump in? Sorry, I know I'm interrupting everybody, but something that came out earlier. I wanted to know is you do a very good job with your channel, Mr. Sensible, and I just wondered how much time you spend researching your subject before you make a vid, because it seems to me like you put a lot of effort into making your videos.
Here. You're absolutely bang on, man.
Thank you.
And I just want to augment that and say that, and I mean no disrespect to the others out there.
How dare you?
Well, I mean no disrespect.
Yeah.
But Mr. Sensible, you're calm when you present the arguments.
Well, thank you. That's why that one with Mitch from Australia, when he said I was triggered when I was doing the lines from Pulp Fiction. What was it? Say entropy again. Say entropy again. Say entropy. One more. God, that it was just for the humour. I don't get triggered. And
I think we got that.
If you guys triggered me about something, really got me angry about something, if anything, I'll get just icy calm. I'll just deal with it. I just want to take this opportunity.
That's that cool, calm confidence you have, Mr. Sensible.
I mean,
because you're right, and you don't have to worry about being judged by other people.
And I've got a couple of things wrong. I've got a couple of things wrong, and it's been pointed out in the chat. And I'll own it and say, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was wrong about that. Could I just take this opportunity to read out a couple more super chats? Mr. Hugh Jarsz, thank you very much, sir, has super chatted 5 upside down Australian dollars, saying Merry Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Sensible and family. Thank you very much, Hugh, and Merry Christmas.
What's his name? Huge Arse.
No, Hugh Jarsz.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah, what are you like 5 years old? I mean, come on, it's Hugh Jarsz.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's Hugh Jarsz.
Yes, don't make fun of my name.
And there was another.
It's Hugh Jarsz.
Actually, I hadn't noticed the Hugh Jarsz thing before, so yeah.
Well, there's another super chat I need to read out as well. Blair Sadovitz has super chatted $5 US, talking about the Asperger's and so on. These diagnostic categories are useful in a clinical context. they aren't useful to apply to ourselves. Normal is a statistical term. Absolutely. I am not of the norm, but it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It just means I'm different. And I like to be different. I've said in the video, different is good. I like different.
Well, there's no such thing as perfect mental health. Everybody's a little bit crazy. It's just to what degree. There's no such thing as absolutes. Everything's a grayscale.
Yeah.
No, I'm completely and utterly nuts when I'm presented with some kind of globe-denying moron or foolishness, shall we say. I lose the plot.
I've noticed. Oh, Flying Ark just said that my sense of humour is great. Thank you, Flying Ark. What helped with me, my very first job, I worked in a small team. I think there's about 5 or 6 of us. And it was a really good atmosphere. And there was one guy who had this particular sense of humour. And it got me. And I thought, he's right. You know, that's funny. And I think in many ways I owe my sense of humour to him. We're very much of a likeness, if you know what I mean. Excuse me. Oh, ratty cold. I'm going to be working tomorrow and I've got this cold coming on. Last thing I want. Never mind.
No. Don't bring it over here, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I coughed into the mic. You've all got it now.
Oh, no. Jeez,
now you're going to give it up.
Spread it.
Virus protection.
Yeah, get your antivirus on.
Oh,
And
yeah,
put your
I hope you're all
firewalls up.
vaccinated. Oh, no, we're not going to get onto anti-vaxxers now, are we?
You're working Christmas Eve. That's a bit rough.
Oh, you must have missed that. I'm working Christmas Eve. I start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I finish at 1 a.m. Christmas Day, Hugh. And then I've got a 12-hour turnaround and I go back in again and I work again from 1 p.m. on Christmas Day. So I've got... Yeah, it's a bit crap. Never mind.
Yeah.
Just time to scoff at turkey.
What was that? Did you say that at least you'll have a time for a crap?
I don't think I
Can
will.
I just
I'm
jump
very
in?
impressed.
No turkey for me.
I'm very impressed with you. I'm very impressed with Jack Buck at the moment, the way he's restraining himself. It's just amazing.
You're impressed with me, are you? Yeah.
I'm learning some new words.
Yeah. Well, I
Words
mean,
that
I
aren't
can
swears.
still cuss without the swears, you know. I mean, there's lots of words you can use, like monkey anus dribbles.
I knew you were going to say that, Chuck.
Spawny-eyed Wazzock.
Yeah.
But is that the same monkey that we just saw in the last
big
show?
bag of amphibian? Sorry.
Hey,
Sorry.
Mr. Sensible.
Yeah.
If you ever want to delve into a well thought out conspiracy, I don't believe it, but it's entertaining to watch, and it had its own television show a while back. Check out Ancient Aliens.
Oh,
not all the stuff. Was it Chariots of the Gods? What was his name?
No, there was actually a
of the
show on this.
well,
Tom
Bard, have you never watched The Shills?
No, I have not.
Oh,
We've done the Ancient Aliens more than about 3 occasions, I think. Now
Oh, okay.
we do it live on air. Me and a bunch of other lads, and a couple of girls as well. You know.
Yeah, I used to watch.
Just get together and have some fun, and that's what we do. But yeah, on the History Channel, we've covered them 3 times, I think. Now, Ancient Aliens. We just take one segment and debunk it, or just
That would be
laugh at it, or
interesting.
whatever. Yeah, it's good fun.
I
just want to jump in and say, speaking of comedy, there's some comedy going on in the chat right now.
which bit?
Our dear beloved friend Flat Earth Jesus has all
man.
these wonderful explanations for everything, but no proof of anything.
Well, he said raindrops go flat when they hit the ground. I think we'd probably have to agree with that. And someone pointed out it was the name that I was grasping for was von Daniken or von Daniniken. That is the one, Tom C. Tutor. You're absolutely right. That's the one I was thinking of. And Gerhard Selig.
Flat Earth
Yeah.
Jesus says he has more experience playing with water.
I got caught in a rainstorm once, and the rain was literally bouncing back off the pavements about 6 or 7 inches.
Yeah, but those were spherical raindrops,
They were
weren't they?
indeed, and they were spherical when they bounced back.
They
up
weren't
as well.
flat. Imagine that. How does?
And they hurt.
Why don't we have flat raindrops? If Earth can be flat, why can't we have flat raindrops?
And why are hailstones pretty much spherical?
Oh no, that's a NASA design. I designed those specifically myself.
I hope that NASA payroll system has been talking to you. Have you met NASA payroll system?
I run the NASA payroll system, actually. I've been paying you guys for years, dude. You're not keeping up, man.
Well, it's these instant bank transfers. Although, are we getting a Christmas bonus this year?
I have to get mine from a tree.
Oh no, here we go.
Yeah, man. And I never find the bleeding thing.
Yeah,
I'm always too drunk by the time I get back to my tree that I don't even know if there are any other trees. And then when I wake up in whatever tree, it isn't mine anyway. So normally I can't seem to find it.
Flat Earth Jesus just said he spent many years watching tides, surfing, and swimming, so therefore he knows the Earth is flat. That's funny because I live in Hawaii. I know the Earth is not flat, and I'm surrounded by tremendous water.
So you live where?
Well, yeah.
No, I used to live in Hawaii, but there's a lot more water there. So, and you know, I could actually watch ships going over the horizon. And I zoomed in as much as I could, but I couldn't bring them back.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I've done it with binoculars. I mean, I lived in Bournemouth for 5 years, and then I moved to the Canary Islands, which I lived there for 3.5 years. Then I lived in Norway, which is pretty much coastal. Wherever you live, you're always by a fjord or something. And yeah, you just see things going over the curve. And no matter how good your bleeding binoculars are, I mean, I can see the craters on the moon, guys, but I cannot see that boat once it's gone over the curve. It's gone. Because guess what? The Earth's a globe. It's not hard, is it? Come on, people. It's not bleeding hard. Just wake up and get your eyes tested and shake your head apart, smash it against the wall or something, but whatever. Just wake up to reality. It is not difficult. It is very, very easy for any idiot on planet Earth to work out that we live on a bleeding globe.
John, is this going to be a new children-friendly channel you're starting?
Yeah, tell us how you really feel about it.
Oh, you've not heard it. Bard, you need to check out his channel.
I remember listening to the Flat Earth debate and with JM, and they were talking about that, and JM says, I've done that. And I said, I want that camera equipment. If you could got cameras that could do that, why don't you make billions out of it? You know?
Actually, did you notice on that very same debate how many times JM got stumped? He literally was at a loss for words several times during that.
Oh, there was a JM debate a little while back. It's probably about 2 months back, and he literally looked like a deer caught in headlights. You know, because he's got fairly thick glasses. He can't help that, but with his eyes look really big and sort of blinking, and he really looked like he was about to get run over.
Mm-hmm. But there's one observation that I'd like to mention. Now, I've often heard many flat earthers say that precipitation comes from the dome. And not too long ago, I took a trip out toward the West Coast to visit family and had a layover in Denver. It was snowing, really snowing. And when our plane was finally allowed to take off, we went above the cloud layer, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you know what? If there was really a dome, it'd still be snowing right now as we're over the cloud cover.
I just need to jump in really quick. This is wonderful. This is comedy gold. Okay, Flat Earth Jesus says, I can't see the ship going over the horizon. I need to raise an elevation to see the ship over the horizon.
Absolutely.
Imagine that. I wonder why.
He's seen the light. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus has seen the light.
Yeah, now we can get him to be just like Oakley and prove the flat Earth prove the globe Earth every single day.
Well, Ranty Flat Earth is best at that. Every time he pulls out his camera, he proves the globe. It's brilliant.
Do we have do we have an award for the best flat Earth debunkers by flat Earths?
We should do. Yeah. I think they might have done it on Simon Dan's channel with Conspiracy Cats. I didn't watch it this year, but last year I watched it live.
Let's make it a thing. Let's just do this all the time. Just flat earthers who debunk flat Earth better than we can.
Oh, have you dropped out?
It's great. It's great when they actually debunk themselves. I mean, I've got a piece, and I won't tell you where I was looking, but I've got a piece of 200 proofs by Eric Dubay, where there's a certain amount of proofs where he does 2 proofs. Well, actually, there's a few beforehand, but I just got the last 2 proofs, and then the next proof where he debunks the previous 2 proofs. And it's like, hang on a minute, you just debunked the 2 beforehand, you idiot.
Did you see on my 1 minute debunk show where the channel 1 Minute Debunk, who was only allowed to do a half-minute debunk, he took on Eric Dubay, and he showed 3 of Eric Dubay's proofs. One was that the moon was translucent, the other that the moon and the sun were the same height, and a third that eclipses are real. So if it's translucent, how can it eclipse the sun? And if they're the same height, how can it eclipse the sun? So you're absolutely right. He debunked himself. It's not a consistent story.
Well, yeah. Here's a base. How he debunks himself. He goes on. He doesn't understand conservation of momentum. So a helicopter just has to lift off and then wait for the Earth to rotate to get to its destination. He's saying that, and then he's saying about how if the Earth is got the atmosphere and that's rotating with the globe, so he admits that that's the case. But then he starts talking about butterflies wouldn't work in the atmosphere. And it's like, so now you're saying that it is rotating, but butterflies won't work if it is. It's like, what the fuck? Amongst and not just butterflies, but rain and bullets and planes and just about everything else couldn't fly if atmosphere is also spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Why?
Well, one thing that surprises me is with modern technology, we can create computer models, graphical computer models for just about anything. Look at game development specifically. You can create these massive worlds.
Universe sandbox. You can create the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, one thing that surprised me about Flat Earth is that they haven't done a ground level simulation of what they think the Flat Earth is.
Well, you only need a piece of paper for that.
Well, no, I mean, imagine a computer simulation where you're on the ground and...
Yeah, and it all works.
You might not be able to model some things. You might need ray tracing for light and stuff, but for basic stuff like, say you're on ground level, if the sun does indeed move this way, this is how it should look.
Blue Marble Science is using a program just like that to debunk that guy. Actually, I forgot the name. It starts with an S, but it definitely shows, like you just say time of day where you are, and it'll show you what the sun and moon look like. With a photorealistic picture, and you can zoom in and see exactly what phase the moon is in at any particular time of day from anywhere in the world.
It's not stellarium, is it?
Yeah, stellarium. That's what it is.
Yeah, there's a couple others like that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, what I'm talking about is the Flat Earthers build something for their model and then test it against reality, as opposed to us building the model around reality. If that makes sense.
I think Flat Earth Aussie Jesus just found himself proving the globe, and now he's trying to really do some damage control in the chat.
Actually, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, do you want to come into the voice chat? I'm not pushing. If you want to, just jump on the Discord server and come into the arena.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, because
come and have a chat.
He's always a good one to talk
come
to.
have a go. I mean, I want to actually talk to him more, face to face, so to speak.
Yes,
so do I. He owes me a beer.
He's actually cool, man.
Owes me a beer.
He's actually all right when you chat to him. He's
a nice guy. Yeah.
believes the Earth's flat. Well, he's absolutely wrong.
I agree.
But
Well, at least he's not a
other
that
than
guy.
that,
Oh, crumbs! That guy is just obnoxious. That's what I don't understand. There's few
well, I never
people
spoke to him though.
like there's the gate guy. He seems like a nice guy. I had that bloke Flat Earth New Zealand on here. Really nice guy. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus. I have spoke to him on someone else's channel. Nice guy. Yeah, we can totally disagree.
You can't judge people by their
He's
videos.
here.
Imagine if people judged me by my videos. They'd be like,
or how short your tail is. Sizes and
Well,
everything, is it, Chuck?
he judged me by
no,
my
I'll tell you
name.
what, I've got a
my
9-inch
alien said
tongue,
something.
alright? So that never gets complaints.
Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, you come on in when you're ready, pal.
Can I jump in? Somebody mentioned Universe Sandbox 2.
Yeah.
And I know watching all these Flirth channels it gets a bit sad after a while, and you need a bit of light relief. And I watched this guy. It's called
Sorry, nine. Just 1 second. Ross, we're getting feedback from your speakers, mate.
Well, you might be. Yep, just thought I'd ask that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you use headphones, it's best, really.
Yeah, I know. I haven't got any headphones. That's the trouble.
Can you push
well,
to
I guess
talk?
we'll deal with it.
I'll try and keep the microphone away from the speaker.
Anyway, good evening to you, Ross. How are you?
Yes, good morning. I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, good morning to you, yeah.
Oi, Aussie. You alright, pal? Jutmonk?
Yeah. Jutmonk, how you doing?
Safe, bro. You alright?
Yeah, good.
Cool, man.
So, have you been having
for a beer, innit, for you?
Have you been having fun in the side chat, Ross?
Oh, I've been having a blast, yeah.
Okay, well, if I may address Ross directly, I still want you to explain when you said that you have to gain elevation to see the ships. Why would that be?
Well, it's the natural laws of convergence. The lower down you are, the less.
No, that's not how convergence works, dude. I'm sorry. That's
not 100%.
No. If you know anything about lasers, that's not how convergence works.
Well, lasers are a bit of a different story altogether, aren't they?
Well,
are we talking Team Skeptics laser or just yours?
Well, I don't really fiddle around with lasers. I'm just talking about normal convergence of human eyesight. How that works.
Well, convergence of human eyesight and the convergence of lasers works exactly the same way, my friend.
Well, not necessarily, because the laser is remaining level to the surface.
No. I'm sorry. I can't let you get away with that because convergence is one thing. There is no side definition. There is no alternate explanation. It is not a kind of word that you could just use with multiple meanings. It only has one meaning.
What you're failing to recognize is that the laser is traveling that distance where your sight is still stuck in your head, back where you are, where you're standing. So to assume that your eyesight is the same thing as what the laser is doing is just erroneous. Silly way of thinking of it.
Now, do you know how the human eye works?
Yeah, I do, but it stays in your head, whereas the laser travels to the distance where you're looking at. Two different things. You're not traveling with the laser.
Ross, let me give you a little thought experiment, Ross. Okay, let's say there's a boat, and it's a distance away, and half of it is, for want of a better word, hidden, and you're saying it's because of the convergence. Is that right?
Well, yes, that's right.
Okay. All right. So we're assuming a flat Earth, and at this certain distance, half the boat gets hidden because of that. Now, you're saying if you went up higher, you could see more of it, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so let's just say, for the sake of argument, that distance is 10 miles. And if you lifted yourself up 100 feet, you could then see all of the boat again. So what if you lifted up 100 feet and the boat lifted up 100 feet? It's still 10 miles. Would you see it all then, or would the bottom half be disappeared?
So it's like a flying boat?
Yeah.
Well, because if it's in the air, we can see it in the air, so of course it won't be obscured.
So what's are you saying it's just because it's on the on a surface, whether it's water or flat land or whatever?
Exactly.
Why? What does the service do?
Ross, you did say that we couldn't see it through the water. Those are your exact words. We couldn't see it through the water.
That's right. That you can see through air.
Yes, but if it's on the surface and we have to get up higher in elevation and we can't see it through the water, why would the water be in the way if the Earth was flat?
Because of your angle of view. That's just how convergence works. It always rises to eye level.
But that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying, Ross. If both you and the boat lifted up, it's still 10 miles away. So if you could see all of the boat through the air, leave aside a portion of a boat that is always going to be underwater. The above water surface.
The waterline. Waterline.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, above the waterline. So if you're both down on the surface, why should that water, or why should your vision be any different than if you're both 100 feet up?
Because that's the law of convergence. It's a natural law of perspective that is inescapable. That's just how it works. And it changes by gaining height.
Well, I know with perspective...
No, it doesn't.
It does. You see a lot further. It still converges to eye line.
Yeah, but I want to expand on this a bit, Ross. So if you're 100 foot in the air and you're flying boats 100 foot in the air, yes, with convergence and perspective, if that boat kept moving away, eventually it would get so small in your vision that your angular resolution can't see it anymore.
That's correct,
yeah. Okay, so we got no issues with that. So the only question is...
That's angular, or the size resolution, different from angle of height, viewing across the flat surface.
Yes, so that's why I said if both you and the boat are at the same height, so the difference in height is 0, the same as it is if you were on the water. So if you can't see it at an angle of 0 on the water, why should you see it at an angle of 0 if you're both in the air?
Well, because it's nothing blocking it. It's just getting so far away.
But if you're on the water, if you're flat on the water, if I'm sat in a little dinghy on the surface of the water, the boat's on the surface of the water, there's nothing else, assuming a flat Earth, there's nothing else to get in the way.
Yeah, and that's why we have this thing we call convergence. And that changes how you can see by how high you are. And if you just crouch down on the surface of the water, you'd see even less. The boat would disappear entirely. But if you go and gain
Ross, if there's... Can I stop you for a second? I'm sorry, don't mean to be rude. But if it's convergence that you say that makes the bottom of the boat disappear, why doesn't the top of the boat disappear too?
Well, it eventually does. It just depends how big it is.
Why first and second, though?
The further you can see it, because it's up higher. That part of it is higher than the convergence line.
Okay, Ross, let me start you off with a short story. I took a pilot's training and I went up for my first flight, and the first thing I saw off of the runway, which was located right on the shore in Hawaii, I saw a shipping container that was almost gone over the horizon. Now, when I reached an altitude of 2,000 feet, I could see the entire boat, bottom to top, right to the waterline, and then I kept flying, and in that same direction, I could actually see the boat going below, more towards me, where the horizon was above the boat. How does that happen?
It's exactly what you'd expect, because you gained height. That's exactly how.
Well, if I'm going higher and the Earth is flat, how does that have anything to do with convergence?
Because the horizon is completely 100% dependent on your viewing height, and it is always at eye level. It might appear above it sometimes if you've got objects near it. At the
same time, I'm looking at my instruments, and it says that the line that I should be looking at straight ahead is actually above the horizon. Now, how does that work?
Yeah, that's not eye level. That's an instrument showing what your height is.
The instruments are telling you what eye level is.
No,
that's what it's for.
What your level is. They're not showing you what eye level is. Eye level is always the horizon.
Ross, have you ever flown a plane before?
No, not personally flown one, but I've been in plenty.
So you haven't flown a plane before?
No.
So you have no pilot's training whatsoever?
No, that's correct.
So how do you know what you're talking about when I actually do have that training and you're saying I'm wrong? And you're saying basically I'm wrong and every other pilot is wrong. How does that work?
I've seen multiple videos of what you're trying to show here, and you're basically...
No, Ross. No. Stop right there. Okay, you saw multiple videos. You saw them on YouTube? You saw them on YouTube. Have you seen anything other than YouTube?
Possibly. What difference does it make?
What difference does it make? I can put any video I want on YouTube. It doesn't have to be true. If I'm putting a video on an instructional site, I would have to be correct, wouldn't I?
But you know what I'm talking about. You're talking about a theodolite, right? And all
nobody knows what you're talking about.
The limitations of human eyesight and showing you what your elevation would be at that distance.
But what happens when I can see another plane from 100 miles away or whatever you want to say? Maybe 10 miles away. Why does the bottom of that plane disappear?
The horizon is always going to be eye level.
Right, I'm going to jump in. I want to jump in there a second, Ross. I presume you've seen those experiments on YouTube with a U-shaped tube filled with a coloured liquid, and if you're down at sea level, you look across the two surfaces of the two ends of the U. Obviously, you get them level, and that's level with the horizon. And your eye is level with the level of the water and the level of the horizon. And yet, if you go up,
you are at water level at that point, but when you artificially raise that level up even higher with you, it's going to show you a different what you imagine to be.
No, what I was going to say is, so if you take it to the top of a mountain, and you've got the same line between your eye, the nearest part of the U, the furthest part of the U, and no longer with the horizon. That level, your eye level, is then above the horizon. So the horizon has not risen.
Because you're up so high, but the horizon is still technically eye level.
Are you
artificially raise the artificial level to show you what true level is, not convergence?
Not really sure I understand what you're saying there.
There's true level, and then there's eye level. And the horizon is eye level. True level is what you use a theodolite for because it overcomes the limitations of human eyesight.
What's this limitation?
Convergence. It's all an illusion.
Ross, can you define convergence, please? Can you just define convergence without looking on Google or anything like that? Just define it in your own words.
Well, you can see it in any image. You take a picture of, say, a bridge going into the distance or train tracks. That's convergence. Everything is going towards the center.
That is not convergence. That is not convergence at all.
Mr. Jesus, if I may ask this question, okay? I'm a truck driver, and this is where I get this. If you go to western Wyoming, you have some very stupidly tall mountains there, okay? The elevation of those is roughly, in Salt Lake City, the elevation is 4,226. That's Salt Lake City, not Wyoming, but it's generally around the same elevations. The sea level of Chicago is 597. Okay, so looking out, technically on a flat Earth model, you should be able to see Chicago from that elevation.
No, because that's not how convergence works. Sorry, it's a very simple thing to understand how convergence works.
So how does it work then? Because
everything shrinks towards the center of your field of view. Everything.
But
from
in
all
that example, the center view would be looking downward at an angle.
Tumbleweeds.
Like there's a.
What you're describing, Ross.
Upright keeps us level, and if you're using that to keep your balance, then you're always looking across. And then the nature of convergence means everything converges towards the bottom part you cannot see through, so it creates an obscurity point. The top part, which is sky, is see-through, so you can see taller things from a much further distance until they're obscured by it.
But in my example, Chicago is not taller than the western mountains in Wyoming.
No, but you're doing a good job with no laser.
There's actually 2,000 feet between the two elevations. In Nebraska and Iowa are generally flat, and large parts of eastern Wyoming. There's no mountains between those two locations.
Yeah, and the general law of convergence is from a height of about 6 foot across a flat surface, you only see about 3 miles. That's where the obscurity point begins. You gain a bit more height.
So if I take a very powerful telescope and stand on the mountains of Wyoming, I can potentially see Chicago.
Potentially, but then you also have the problem with atmosphere itself isn't completely, totally see-through. It eventually thicker and thicker the more of it.
Assuming the cloud cover is roughly sitting at 20,000 feet. Okay.
The atmosphere itself is a bit like looking underwater.
You should have, on a clear day, you should technically have a good enough line of sight between the two.
Yeah, well,
I got a question. Why can't people in Australia see New Zealand?
Because the Earth is actually really, really, really big. And
It's not that big. It's not that big. It's not that long a boat ride. Come on. Don't try that.
How many miles
really
is it? 4 kilometers. I'm just asking for myself.
On the coast, it's a long distance. You know, if you go to walk it, it's a very long distance. You know, you don't need to hop in a car and drive. It's massive. Yeah,
okay. If it's massive, give me a figure.
In Australia, see Polaris.
Sorry, I have to turn you up a little bit. I can't hear. Trying to get the volume down. What was that?
Why can't people in Australia see Polaris?
Too far away.
Guys, I'll let you chat. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You carry on.
Gotcha.
How come I can see Polaris then?
Because you're nearer to it.
Ross, no, I can answer that question for you. The reason people in Australia can't see Polaris is because there's a giant planet in the way.
Well done, thank you.
Well, that's what some deluded people believe.
Can I just put it this way? Like, why is it the further towards the equator you go, the closer to the horizon Polaris gets, to a point where when you go below the northern, you step into the southern hemisphere, as we'd call it, us globaganders, globe dorks. How on earth can we no longer see it once you're in the southern hemisphere or the southern part of the disc?
Well, you actually
why is it drop beneath the horizon?
By the way, I just googled it. The distance. Sorry. The distance between Sydney.
Getting higher is going further away from something. It's not going back.
The distance between Sydney and New Zealand is, survey said,
2,223 kilometers.
Well, if the Earth is flat on a clear day, we should still be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you understand convergence. The very basic
You keep saying convergence, but you still haven't defined it, Ross.
Say what?
You keep saying convergence, but you still haven't defined it.
Yes, I have. Everything.
No, that was not a definition. That was your definition.
So, can I ask a question then? No, I'd like to ask a question then. So, obviously, something is going to us. We see it going over the curve. To you, it's joining the convergence line. Yeah. Now, if I've got powerful enough equipment that I can still look at a human being standing on that boat, but still watch it going over the curve,
You're just deluding yourself that it's curved there. It's clearly convergent.
But there's there's the bottom half of the boat missing, but I can actually still see, detail, a person on there, so it's not that far away.
Why can we see someone on the deck of a oil tanker or a cargo ship? We can actually see their face, but we cannot see the bottom of the boat.
Fine. Are you even listening to me?
Yeah, guys. Sorry, Ross, just wait.
Hold on.
Hold on, everyone. Listen, Ross is coming here as a guest. We're just having a nice chat. I know that this can get people riled up, but to be fair to Ross, there is only one of him and about 6 of us. So do let him chat, okay?
Oh, yes, I want to hear him talk. I just want to hear him answer a few basic questions.
Yeah.
I want to know how big the flat Earth is if he's too far away.
Okay, well, I just described it. The higher you are, the further you can see. The higher something is, the further you can see it. Even if you're down low, still quite low because it is higher. It works both ways.
But
What
doesn't
about
convergence
telescopes?
work in light all the way?
Say
I mean,
that again.
does I don't remember any law of physics or lights anything to do with lights or anything like that saying that elevation was a factor in convergence.
Well, why else do they put lighthouses up really high? 'Cause you can
Okay,
see
so
them.
if I take a laser to 100 miles elevation, does the laser somehow not become convergent?
That cut out. Then there's a laser somehow.
Because as I said, convergence does not change. It's just one thing. It's like a mirror. A mirror reflects. It does not reflect differently at a higher elevation or lower elevation. It does not reflect differently on Jupiter or Mars or Alpha Centauri 3. It still reflects. Just like convergence does the same thing on Earth and anywhere in the universe. So how would it change by elevation?
Well, light doesn't change. You're viewing.
I would also like to remind you, Ross, that photons are not affected by magnetism.
I don't think this has to be about light. It's all about range and the things in between you that are blocking you, which is generally the convergence point. Even if it's below your feet level as the ocean is.
It seems that you're using convergence, the word convergence, as a crutch, Ross. Can you use something different? Maybe a different...
That everyone can observe for themselves. Take your time and make some experiments and you will see it. It's clear as day.
Well, I just told you, I did an experiment. I flew a plane and I saw a ship come back over the horizon.
Exactly, because you got higher. That's exactly
Maybe that's because, yeah, that's exactly how it works because that's the curvature of the Earth. That's not convergence. I didn't see any difference in any other part of the boat. I just saw more of it.
So if it was curvature, you have to go forwards and over it to see over it. If you're going up, perpendicular to the curve, you're actually going further away from it because it's actually leaning at its angle away from you and you're perpendicular to the curve. And you're basically going backwards.
Well,
it only works on a...
Well, Ross, we'll take an Earth of a given size, assume it's a globe, and you've got a really, really large object, bigger than Everest, massive object, but you're 90 degrees around the globe, and you can't see it because you've got the curve is hiding this massive object. Surely you would understand then if you got higher and higher so that ball starts to look smaller and smaller, you would then be able to see half the sphere. You would see that object that's 90 degrees around the curve, wouldn't you?
I don't think you'd see 90 degrees over it.
Well, if you look at a ball, any ball, you're looking at the very nearest point of it. You can see half the ball, can't you? Half the sphere. A football, you're going to see half the football. So if that mountain was at the side of the football, you're going to see it because you've moved far enough away. If you brought your eye right close to the ball, then you'll get so close that eventually even a large object at the side of the ball would be hidden from you again.
That's a soccer ball for all of America.
Yeah, soccer ball.
Here's the example I was saying before in the chat. Say you had a grapefruit, a nice brown grapefruit.
Yep.
You've got some long skewers, and you poke all those skewers in towards the centre, as so-called gravity. Each one of those technically going up.
Yep.
So the furthest distance from at the tips of them, each of them is getting further and further away from the other one.
Yeah.
So to put that into perspective on the globe, on a really, really big ball, gaining much elevation is not going to allow you to see very much further at all. So you have to actually go forwards and over the curve if you bring that to scale.
Well, you mentioned earlier on about the fact that the atmosphere is not perfectly clear, and that's absolutely correct. I mean, I've visited the Grand Canyon, and looking across and down the Grand Canyon, you can see the bluish tinge of the atmosphere. So you're right. There's going to be a limit just due to the atmosphere. But I mean, I flew back from Europe, and it was in the middle of the night, and I looked out of the window, and I could see both sides of the English Channel, and all the ships going across, which, to be honest, quite shocked me. I hadn't really thought about that, because it's 23, 24 miles, and yet I could see both sides. I could see the shape of France and the shape of the UK, Dover.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, it was actually. It looked unreal, but it was real.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you got people now using infrared cameras, and they're seeing as far as 1,000 miles into the distance. It's absolutely impossible.
It would be impossible. It would be impossible to play.
A mile of drop in just 90 miles. And yet I've seen distance well over 90 miles distance, and there's not so much as an iota of curvature. Not even a hint.
You take photos of it?
Yeah. As I explained, I've got a video on my channel which I call Julian Spective. Way up high on the mountain, you can see, I would say, at least a 90-mile vista of perfectly flat and level horizon. There's a small rocky outcrop, which when you do that from sea level is entirely above the horizon, where people mistakenly believe curvature begins. And if you gain a little bit of elevation and then go up to, say, the lighthouse, you can see for miles upon miles upon miles of flat and level water. You can see tiny little dots on the horizon of a giant shipping container ship. And you can see how much flatness there is, not even a hint of curvature.
So Ross, just before anyone tackles Ross, what's that video called? And then I'll post the link to it in the chat.
I call it Julian Spective, in one word. It means Julian Rocks.
Julian Spective?
Yeah.
Is it a recent video?
No, it's a couple of years, that one. There's one I had access to, some editing software, doing a course.
Mr. Ross.
See, it's so difficult. It's so difficult because I haven't spoken for a while, and it's so difficult, Ross. And I like you. We agree on a good beer, but like you're saying, you've seen that flatness, and I can honestly say that I've seen curvature. I've seen the top half of a lighthouse. With no on a really clear day. See more of it on other days where it's refracted, but it's like, well, why is only half of that visible?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what convergence does. It's the law of convergence, an inescapable law, and it's what's fooled people into thinking it was curvature when it's clearly not.
Well, I'm sorry, Ross, but it seems that you keep saying convergence, but again, that's not how convergence works. If I can see the top of the ship, I should, and I can't see the bottom of the ship because of convergence. It's not selective.
Yeah, I mean, surely if I zoom in, and it doesn't matter how much I zoom in, I can still only see the same amount of lighthouse. It doesn't matter whether I zoom in 50%, 80%, or 100%. I don't see more of the lighthouse. I just see the same amount of the top half of the lighthouse. Not as more of the lighthouse into view. Now, surely, if the Earth was flat, that would be the case. Wouldn't you agree?
It's caused by viewing height. It's a very real phenomenon. You can see it everywhere. That's how convergence works, and if you change your height, as I was saying, gain a gradient, and you will see far more of it just by going up.
Of course, which is consistent with the globe, surely. I mean, that's consistent with the globe, surely, my friend.
That's exactly consistent with the globe. I mean, that's a curvature right there. You can't just say zoom in; it doesn't work.
Can I just
zoom in? Doesn't make a difference. But if I gain height, I can see a little bit further over the curvature. I mean, imagine yourself microscopic on a baseball, and just like you see, so far lift yourself up, you can see further over that curvature of that ball, can't you? And that's exactly what you're seeing right there, Ross. Right there, the curvature of the Earth at play. Game, set, and match.
You have to go forwards to see over it. Curvature exists like a mountain. A mountain is real, genuine curvature. You cannot see over a mountain by zooming in on it. You cannot see over the mountain by just gaining some elevation. You have to get forwards and over the mountain, the real, genuine physical curve, in order to be able to see over it. And curvature on Earth would exist in exactly the same way.
Okay, Ross, can I throw another question at you? If the Earth is flat, why aren't any of the other planets flat?
Ooh.
What other planets? There are no planets.
Oh no!
Oh God.
Wait, one more. Let me try one more. Okay, Ross, I just want to ask you this question also really quick. If a triangle has a size of 3.14159 on all sides, what are the angles?
6 degrees.
Oh, okay. So you've been studying up on that.
Well done, Ross. Nice one.
He's obviously seen Riley's video and looked.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, he actually caught on. So, Ross is not too dull a knife in the spoon drawer.
Ross, you're a nice guy. I enjoy having you on this channel, mate.
Oh no, you're a delight. It's just I think you just got a lot of things wrong, Ross.
Well, no, I think I've actually analysed things more correctly than most people, and I'm not afraid to admit.
Oh God,
where I
that guy's syndrome.
But Ross, hello. I just told you my experience as a pilot, and you say I am wrong, and my experience is the same as all pilots.
Mr. Ross, here's something that might challenge your worldview, if I may.
Go for it.
Long distance parabolic antennas. If you have any experience with them or know somebody, that could really change your idea of the whole thing. Because
So
these
you
are
think
generally
people could bounce off a potential dome if there was one, or some sort of firmament if there was one? How would it bounce off even thinner and thinner gases? Makes no sense.
there are certain radio waves that will bounce, and there's some that will not bounce. Okay, and parabolic essentially means a directional. It's a focused radio signal.
Can I ask a question to the as a pilot? Can I ask you a question? Have you ever had to dip your nose as not into outer space? And I've got another question. Could you answer that for me?
Well, I'm not a pilot, so no, I've never had to dip my nose to stop from flying into outer space.
No, but there was a pilot saying that they're masking the pilot here.
Oh, do you mean me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, when I flew, I didn't have to dip my nose down at all. When I saw level, it was level, and it just stayed there.
Stays there
because I maintain a constant altitude, which is not flat.
But you know, something that would be very much more real to me, that is if you're flying straight, you say you're flying east, surely you must have to keep turning left so that you don't crash into an ice wall.
Nope. I didn't have to turn left or right, actually. I was pretty safe on that.
So you're not worried about crashing into an ice wall, like flying straight?
Well,
that would be a very real thing, whereas like obviously planes have ceilings, we all know, anyone with a plane
if we go too high, we hit the dome, of
space.
course.
But obviously, if the Earth was flat, that would be a much more realistic problem. The fact they're flying straight, you would end up crashing into an ice wall or a dome.
Well, actually,
they go from A to B. They pick their destination. They know where they're going. They have enough fuel to get there, maybe with a little bit in reserve, and they don't just keep flying outwards or southwards. They go from A to B in the most direct route possible. That's exactly how you'd expect it to work on the flat Earth, and you'd probably do the same on the globe, although all that extra elevation.
Ross, do you know about Pan Am Flight 50?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Well, Pan Am Flight 50 was Pan American Airlines, where they flew from pole to pole, literally pole to pole. And their flight path is very easily traceable. I'm pretty sure Wolfie covered this already. But how would a plane fly from the North Pole to the South Pole if the Earth was flat?
It's very, very easily, because whichever direction you go from north in a straight line is south or outward, like on the spokes of a wheel. So wherever you go, you can just pick your own destination somewhere across this is the South Pole.
Hold on,
and go back home again. I want to see.
How do you return to north?
Hold on, Ross.
Across the South.
Sorry, philosophy. I don't think Ross had finished.
According to your flat Earth map, the South Pole is basically surrounding the North Pole. How do you? I mean, so if no, the South Pole, according to your map, is surrounding the entire disk, as you want to believe. So how do you explain that?
It's like a giant ring magnet. You've got your northern center, which all the compasses point towards.
But no, that's not how coordinates work.
So philosopher, you need to you do need to let Ross answer.
To a fixed point, a singular point. They do not go to a radius.
Yeah, but philosopher,
90 degrees, 0 latitude is the South Pole.
Philosopher, you need to let Ross answer.
1 point.
You need to let Ross answer, okay?
If the South Pole is 1 point, how can that 1 point be completely surrounding the Earth?
They've never found 1 point of the South Pole. Ceremonial poles, but all sorts of other stories. But they've never found a fixed point called the South Pole.
I was looking at that sort of thing just in the past couple of days, Ross. Do you? Well, first of all, do you accept that the North Pole you get periods in the winter where it's continuous dark, and in the summer periods when it's continuous light, i.e. midnight sun?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I'm not surprised.
Even I can explain that on a flat Earth. That's a piece of piss on a flat Earth, as long as you disregard everything else.
Hold on, Joe. So what about at the south? Does the same...
They might get the 24-hour daylight in the summertime. I don't know about that.
You don't know? Okay.
There's a few unknowns.
Actually, Ross, it's not 24 hours. The sun is up for, I'd say, several days?
Well, I mean, I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was sort of the best part of, a few weeks that you actually got daylight.
And actually, you can see the sun and the moon at the same time. There was a video of a guy who was working in Antarctica, and he set his camera to track the sun.
Yeah.
Or track the moon. And it went around, and it kept dipping up and down and up and down, but it never dipped below the horizon.
Yes,
but
right.
This doesn't happen. This does not happen near the equator. Why is that?
No, well, because the sun is quite an elusive stand, and it might take a explaining for me to make it clear to you how we believe it works on the flat Earth. Basically, in my opinion, it always goes around the equator. And throughout the seasons, it gets higher until June 22nd. So by getting higher, it appears to make a smaller surface. But the sun itself doesn't get smaller because it's an apparition created in the same height of the atmosphere. Like the hydrogen.
Did you just say it's an apparition?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to interrupt there.
Can I interrupt?
No. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, Chuck. Listen. Ross does have various thoughts about the sun, which I've heard before, and that's fine. I'm happy to talk about it some other time, but let's just accept that that's Ross's belief. Because philosopher, you're opening a whole new can of worms. Okay.
I was just about to say that I would like to bid you all a farewell. That's why I wanted to jump in. So I'd like to thank you very much for having me on, Mr. Sensible.
Welcome.
But it's been a long stream, man. I didn't expect to be here at 20 to midnight. So,
it's fun. Thank you for coming, Joe.
But I've had a lot of fun. Thank you, Bard, 9 o'clock, Hugh Jarsz.
Merry Christmas,
Philosopher of absolute nonsense, and Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, and Colon. I know from you, pal. But thanks, pals. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Have a good Christmas.
Happy Christmas,
and see you soon.
Chuck Monk, Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to your cousin, Lippy Lion.
Yes. Good night, guys.
Good night.
And let me just throw in, Mr. Sensible. I would also like to thank you for letting me on the stream. I feel honored. Really, the honor is entirely.
Oh, did I just? I thought I just killed the sound there for a second. I moved my mic. No, you're very welcome, philosopher. And I do know that the temptation is when you think when you think or know that the other person is wrong, it gets you riled up, and so I'm just quenching things every now and then to keep it nice and friendly. And it's not a criticism of you; it's an emotive subject, and it's been interesting.
I sometimes I may seem like I come on pretty strong, but I'm not getting angry about anything.
No. I know. But we want, I just wanted Ross to have a fair crack of the whip with his answers and so on. And like I was saying, Ross does have ideas about the sun and so on, and that's fine. But we'll chat about them some other time. It's quite interesting talking about what we're doing about polls. So I'd like to keep on that rather than get so sidetracked. But
let's not get bogged down.
Yeah, Ross, we were talking, or I was asking you about the length of days in the south, and you said you didn't know. Fair enough, but obviously you're Australian, and in the summer you have longer days than you do in the winter, don't you?
That's correct. Yeah, and that's what I was explaining.
And I believe they're about somewhere in the region of about 14 hours 20 minutes for the longest days in Australia. Is it that the sort of order it is? I think.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So, for that to be the case, the sun must be visible for 14 hours 20 minutes, which means it has to be visible for more than half of its rotation orbit. Call it what you will.
Yeah, that's why if you don't understand the pure physics of how the sun and sunlight works, it won't ever make sense.
Well, okay, perhaps you can explain it in a minute, because what I was going to say was I don't know what the latitude of Australia is, so many degrees south, but obviously there are other places around the world that are also that same latitude. They will also get 14 hours, 20 minutes-ish of sun. And so I fail to see, since the sun has to rotate on its path in 24 hours above your flat Earth, how it can light Australia for that portion of the 24 hours and yet can still light somewhere else in, I don't know, South America or wherever for the same sort of time.
Yeah, trust me, that was the biggest mystery for me when I first got into it.
Okay.
To work it out. And you have to understand the very nature of life itself and the way the atmosphere works. It's what illuminates to create the apparition of the sun. So when you're looking through the atmosphere from place, someone in a completely different place is looking at a completely different part of the atmosphere, and they will see the sun in a completely different place. So the sun...
Well, that's refraction.
That's what?
Okay.
That's refraction.
Oh, refraction.
Like how you see a fish in the water, but that's not really where it is.
It's not really where it is. No, the sun itself is actually much higher, but the apparition we see in the atmosphere, our personal apparition, creates our daylight here, and it might be, noon somewhere else, but relative to us, it should be their sunrise. It's just...
Well, you are... Ross, no, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. I can totally concur. But what I want you to understand, though, is that the refraction, because water or air has a lot of water in it, water does bend the light, and also the atmosphere bends the light a little bit. We do not see the sun exactly where it really is, but it does not explain what you're talking about when you say that the sun disappears because of convergence. Because if the Earth was flat, we should be able to see the sun. If the sun was over Florida, people in Australia should still be able to see the sun.
No, I think that's where you're mistaken over the actual scale. But in reality, the Earth is still really, really massive. The sun is relatively close, not 93 million miles away. A lot smaller than I believe as well, but it's still reasonably close, though I will grant you it's also an unknown distance. What we see is only the result of what happens when it makes the atmosphere itself. That's why we even have night. On either model,
Earth and the sun is known.
It wasn't for the illuminating of noble gases.
The distance between the Earth and the sun is known. That's why we have the astronomical unit.
No, it's not. That's made up.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is actually known. We have we can bounce laser light. We can bounce laser light off the sun and come back with a reading.
Oh, that's the first I've heard of that one.
Actually, I must admit, I've not heard of that either. I'm not saying you're wrong, Philosopher. I've just never heard of that.
I've heard them say they do it with the moon.
Yeah.
But even once again, if you've got a laser, it propagates at a certain speed in our atmosphere where it's most dense. So we calibrate it at sea level, for example. But if you shine it through less and less dense gases higher up, it might actually move much, much faster than what you're really expecting. And so you're believing it to go much, much further distance than it really is. It might only be going like...
Not from space. Not from space. The atmosphere does not occur in space. So...
That's right. That's why a laser would behave completely differently in space than it would in atmosphere.
And when I say laser, don't get me wrong. Let's not get bogged down with misdefinitions. I'll say, but a laser is not always visible light.
Well, that's because light requires atmosphere.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You see the sun. The sun is outside of the atmosphere. We see the sun. The sun light does not require atmosphere.
You see the apparition of the sun when it reaches that part of the atmosphere. That's how the sun works.
But you can have a light in a vacuum.
Glowing daylight in the vicinity.
No. I'm sorry, Ross.
I'm wondering about the things we have on the reflectors we have on the moon.
Yes, what about those reflectors on the moon, Ross?
I don't think there's reflectors on the moon, sorry. I think that's made up as well.
Well, that's funny because I've actually seen them.
I'm pretty sure, Ross, that you could go to some university. I'm sure Australia has universities that they could help you out with that.
Well, some people have some pretty decent cameras these days with really powerful zoom, and I've never seen any reflectors on the moon.
I don't think the cameras that, unless you've got
even through a telescope.
A Hubble. If you've got a Hubble in your back pocket.
Forgive me for being a little jaded, but from Mauna Kea telescope in Hawaii, you can see the reflectors.
Yeah, speaking of telescopes, have you ever? What is it? There's. You're down in Australia. I don't know if the major telescopes down there, but if you ever come up here to the United States, I believe there's one major observatory in New Mexico. I believe it's actually a giant telescope. You could actually look into deep space on this sucker. And
are you talking about Arecibo?
I believe so. I'm not sure the name of it, but
is that the big satellite dish, the radio telescope?
It might be that one, or I'm actually thinking
radio
of
telescopes. They're not going to pick up a detector on the moon. I mean, we're looking at visual.
We're talking about visual, like lens telescopes.
Yeah. I was thinking of an actual telescope, not the radio.
I know. We've got telescopes that see in radio waves, infrared, all kinds of different. But like, the only way you're going to convince this guy is to have a physical, optical telescope that can see.
Well, the best way to see those reflectors is from the continental United States, specifically the eastern United States, because since the moon is tidally locked for the most part to the Earth, that's where those reflectors would most likely show up, because that's what they're put there for, is to observe.
And they were put there by Americans too, because
America.
There's light pollution here in Australia. We have much better view of the night sky. The same side of the moon as everybody else. That's because we're all looking up at the bottom side of it.
No, Ross. No, you're not seeing exactly the same moon as people in Florida.
Hey?
You are seeing a slightly angular view from the moon as opposed to people in Florida.
No, it's just inverted because you're on the inside of the equator. We're on the outside.
Not inverted at all. It's not inverted at all. It's the same moon. It doesn't switch shapes or switch places.
It's actually is inverted. We in the southern hemisphere see it upside down in comparison to the northern hemisphere, but it's the same moon.
You put a picture on your ceiling and view it from one side of your room, walk across the room and view it from the other side of the room, it will be inverted. That's how we see the moon. Different sides of the...
Ross, which way is up in space? I'm just curious. I just want to know, which way is up in space?
Well, considering there's no space.
Right.
Well, let's just assume there is. Let's assume there is, okay? Just play devil's advocate for me, okay? If you were in space, if space were real, okay, which way would be?
Hello.
That would depend on what day it is.
Hey, I'm sitting here looking in Australia. In Australia, there is a 3.9 meter optical telescope in Siding Spring, NSW.
New South
Yeah,
Wales.
it's near Coonabarabran.
Well,
You
wait.
know.
I want to hear where is up in space, assuming it were real, of course.
Well, that's just what I said. You know, you'd say the opposite direction from the floor, wouldn't you? Generally,
Wait. There's no floor in space.
Yeah, funny you should say that. I'm playing a game called Space Engines right now, and the floor is wherever I want to put it.
Exactly.
Right.
space.
So I suppose you say that if the Earth is a globe, the water would be dripping off towards the bottom, right? Where gravity supposedly comes from, if that's real.
Personally, I think that that's a nonsense question because there is no space to begin with. Everything finds its place according to the observable laws of density and buoyancy. So down is always down, up is always up. Things of mass always down until they're resistant by something of equal.
Ross, let me remind you, Ross, if you're going to talk about science, you have to be able to accept hypotheticals. That's how you come to a hypothesis before you come to the conclusion.
Yeah, I accept hypotheticals, but I do not accept sheer and utter fantasy nonsense.
Well, you're not accepting space as a hypothetical at the very least. I just asked which way is up space. If space were real, which way is up?
Space for real, that's the thing. It's not. So why?
No, Ross. No. I see what you, don't just say space isn't real. I said accept a hypothetical. If space were real, which way is up?
Well, if space were real, there is no up.
Right, and why would that be?
Because you've ruled out reality.
No, gravity has nothing to do with it. Gravity has nothing to do with it. Up is a direction. It is not a force.
Reality. I didn't say gravity. Gravity is another fantasy.
You just said gravity, Ross. I just heard you. Everybody heard you.
I got something for this. I drive trucks. I regularly haul between 40 and 50, or I'm sorry, 35 and 40 tons. I gotta balance my truck to safely go through the different states. Meaning my axle weights have to weigh certain. Okay, if there's no gravity, okay, and it's all buoyancy, how the hell am I balancing my truck?
By the weight of the truck itself and expressing the weight.
Hold on. Where does weight come from?
Weight comes from the amount of density per volume.
I'm literally changing the center of gravity on my truck when I balance these weights.
Well, you could call it that, but that's really basically...
No, Ross. Think left to right. Think left to right. He's got too much on... He's got a lot of weight on the left-hand side of the trailer. He needs to balance the weight to the right.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with buoyancy? He is not going up or down. He is going laterally. So that has nothing to do with buoyancy whatsoever.
Evenly, because the axles and the bottom of the truck is what's supporting it. So if you don't place them evenly, they will be unbalanced. Pretty logical.
Right, and it would tip over, right? So why would it tip over if buoyancy had something to do with it?
Because the truck is still a real and tangible thing and it's moving, and you want to balance the weight on it to make it so it doesn't fall over.
But Ross, I hate to break your bubble here, but you know that buoyancy is dependent on gravity, right?
No, it's not.
Then why if you mix different density fluids and you take them to a zero gravity or near zero gravity state, that they mix? Such as when people on the Vomit Comet went to an anti-gravity state because the plane was diving at the same terminal velocity as they would be falling.
Yeah.
Why did those fluids mix? And then why is it when the plane leveled out, those fluids all balanced out according to buoyancy.
Because they're not at rest. They're all dropping at the same rate as everything else. And it's not until they come to rest that they act upon one another and distribute themselves according to their density and therefore
But it's buoyancy. Buoyancy, gravity doesn't exist, remember? So if they're falling at the same rate, why would they mix?
Because they're all in free fall, falling through the air at the same rate. Not
Right.
until
So
it comes
doesn't that mean if they're in free fall and if these fluids mix because they're in free fall, doesn't that mean that since they're matching the acceleration of gravity at 9.8 meters per second squared, when they're matching that velocity, that those fluids mix, doesn't that mean that buoyancy does not occur without gravity?
No. Buoyancy occurs when you've got resistance. When you're in free fall, it's zero resistance, not zero gravity.
I would also like to remind you that you're not a pilot, because that's something you have to consider when you're flying aerobatic stunts, is where the fuel is in the fuel tank, because that's not buoyancy. That's called gravity.
I think it's called the nature of fluids in a container.
Okay,
yeah,
guys.
Fluids in a container.
Guys. This is really interesting, but I want to interrupt at this point because we got a couple of others in here. We got Nineoclockhero, Hugh Jarsz, and BardTale, and yeah, like them to sort of get stuck in and chat as well. Although I think possibly one may be about to end anyway.
Yeah, I apologize that we're making this the Ross show.
No.
Yeah, sorry about
So
that.
I'm going to go now, guys.
I just like to talk.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go now, guys. So Merry Christmas to you all. Have a great time.
You too, man.
Merry Christmas, Hugh, and it's good to finally talk to you. And it would be good to talk some other time again. Okay.
I look forward to that.
You have yourself a great Christmas, pal.
See ya.
Listen, guys, you've been having a great conversation. Ross, I hope you've been enjoying it, and I hope you don't feel ganged up on. I tried to keep some order there for you.
I'm happy to try and answer questions. I think this is one of the greatest.
And Ross, I mean, no disrespect when I say this. Besides my cousin, who's a biblical flat earther, and you're the only other flat earther that I've ever talked to.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of scary in a way.
Yeah.
It's even more scary is that we're all flat earth. Most of us don't even know it yet.
To be honest, Thanksgiving was kind of awkward. It really was.
If I may interject, I just want to thank you, Ross, for actually being civil and discussing these things in a rational manner. I mean, I do come on a little bit strong, but you didn't get triggered or anything like that. You didn't name call or anything like that, like some other people we know. And I just want to say thank you for being kind and respectful and actually having a mature discussion on this.
But anyways, it does seem to be a lot easier when we're talking one-on-one as opposed to typing, when we get carried away.
Yes, of course. So I think we all know the difference. But Ross, it's true. You're a good one. We can talk with you. We can disagree 100%, but we can have this conversation, and that's excellent.
Yeah, I just want to excuse myself a little bit. I have a little bit of team skeptic in me, so you see how I come on. So yeah, I'm very speculative and distrusting of certain things. But I'm open to your ideas. I'm just saying, like, just from my experience, it doesn't work out. But we can have a disagreement and we can still talk it out. And I just want to say thank you again for just being respectful.
Yeah, most welcome, mate. Not a problem.
Good stuff. We're all friends here. Well, we are on this channel anyway.
It's all
yeah,
good.
but in the chat system, it's war.
We got a truce for Christmas anyway, at the very least.
Oh, even the Allies and Germans played football on Christmas. Come on.
That was just what I was thinking about, Nine.
Colin's chewing me out in the chat now.
Well, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus can bring the flat pitch for the football match, and we'll bring the spherical ball.
Actually,
I'd rather kick the pitch, kick the ball, and eat the pizza. That's my.
I love kicking the ball around. Yeah.
I was wondering, Ross, if you'd be interested in doing like an actual full-blown real debate.
Yeah, sure. When would you like to do it?
Well, I would like to maybe if we get Mr. Sensible in too, just for fun, and maybe some of these other miscreants and vagrants that are all in this voice chat here.
Well, wouldn't it be fairer to have a one-on-one?
Well, I would like. I could just do a one-on-one, and maybe Mr. Sensible might moderate or something.
Well, I'd be up for that if you would accept that, Ross. But listen, guys, why don't the two of you? You're obviously both on my Discord, so you can message each other and have a chat about it and see what you want to do and come up with some agreed topics and rules and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that great at preparing. The content is my trouble. I just like to talk things off the top of my head. I think all the content has been created by others. There's really nothing more to add. Yeah, I'm pretty much happy to discuss things I do know.
Well, I'd be more than happy to moderate. And if the two of you want to go on camera, I can do that as well.
If I join, I'd have to get an actual working webcam.
Yeah, but we're talking, Bard. We're talking about.
I have a webcam, but it's full of spiders.
Spiders eat all the bugs.
Cutting out a lot, so I'm not sure if it works very well on this computer or not. But I'll close down all the tabs.
Well, at the just as a suggestion though, Ross, just pick up a cheap pair of headphones, just anything really, because that would greatly improve your ability. Yeah,
even earbuds.
You can get those like for $5 or something like that. Just go pick some of those up, and that way it will prevent the feedback coming through, and you sound a lot clearer too.
Fair enough. I've got this little microphone on me. Holding it in my hand.
Yeah, I'm just using earbuds and the built-in mic. That's all you
I
need.
don't know where I put them, that's all. I hardly ever use them. I always place them. I'll turn up.
Well, we can all work it out.
Yeah.
You can find me on Discord now. So
yeah, you
just hit me up.
What I will do for both of you, perhaps you're not aware though, I'm more than happy to do that and to host. However, January, I got rather a busy month because as of about sorry, I'm looking at the wrong month. As of about the 8th of January, I've got 3 weeks where I've got a week I'm involved in prepping for my daughter's wedding. Then we got her wedding, and then me and Mrs. Sensible hope to finally get a few days away. So January for this would pretty much be out. So we'd be looking at February, okay? So we've got plenty of, if you still want me to do that and you don't want to sort something else out in the meantime, we've got plenty of time to organise something for February onwards.
Yeah, we can work it out. We're doing a channel launch like in mid-January anyways, so I don't know. We can push it off a little bit, and just we'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, congratulations, Mr. Sensible.
You wouldn't say that if you saw my bank balance.
I know where you're coming from.
Mr. Sensible, that cheese award is not looking good.
Hold on, let me
it is looking good.
Let me give you an update. One sec.
Oh no!
And not trying to
15-minute delay here.
Yeah,
not trying to get any recognition, but I supported you on Patreon, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I missed who that was speaking.
That was Bard.
Bard, you did that an hour or so ago, was it?
Yeah.
I did see a patron, and I actually thought it was someone else, and I queried because I don't like to say, for instance, hey, are you Fred who's just because I don't want to give it away, because people don't want to know. But so thank you for letting me know, Bard, and I really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, man.
I shall add you to the and by the way, you can see the Cheese Awards in the picture now, I think pretty much.
I don't know. The video is so behind for me.
Oh, it will catch up. It'll catch up.
I can't even watch it
worse
well.
than that, and I've cut the corners off and add cheese on toast.
I unfortunately had to
I'll
turn
pay
the
you
video off.
$1,000 to eat it.
Whoa!
Challenge accepted.
I need pounds.
Perhaps I need to wait till it's all the blacker, and you need to make a higher bid. but Bard, what I'll do is I will add you to the scroller that goes across the bottom. Actually, I might be. No, I won't do it right now because I don't want to mess it up. But I will add that.
Don't worry about
it. So you will get your time. Actually mentioned as the newest, and then for about a month as a new patron. But you'll appear at the bottom as of the next live stream anyway. But thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Sensible, you're not going to be able to make that font any smaller. You're going to have to keep doing multiple screens now.
Which font on the
for the Patreon list?
I've got 3 columns now. Didn't you see it earlier on?
I'm sorry, I came into the stream a little late.
Yeah, I upgraded it to 3 columns, so the font size has gone back up a bit.
Is that because of convergence?
It could be. But we would have to ask Ross about that, though.
Sorry, Ross. I just had to throw that in. Door was open, had to walk through.
Yeah, what was that? You're finally starting to understand.
Never mind.
Yeah, what it was, Ross, we were just talking about my list of patrons, and they were saying that the font will need to get smaller, and then we were concerned about convergence.
Sorry, Ross.
On a flat screen, so you've got nothing to worry about.
The cheese award is flat, so
look at the corner of your room. See, the floor is appearing to rise up, and the ceiling is appearing to sink down. Eventually, they'll meet in the middle, and that's the convergence. But being indoors, you can't see through the ceiling, so it creates a block. Outside, it's got there. So.
To be fair, Ross, I did zoom in as much as I could on the YouTube stream. I still cannot pull the cheese award into view on the frame behind Mr. Sensible.
Viewing things on a screen is the same as sort of like in the outdoor.
I'm just playing with you, Ross. I'm just toying with you. Just clowning, okay?
I know that. I was just being smart. In my own subtle way.
I am a philosopher of nonsense, after all,
True.
Well, guys, 5-minute warning. I'm going to have a cigarette and then I'll wrap up, okay?
Oh, don't threaten me.
Threaten you? Well, we'll be going 3 hours. 3 hours, 8 minutes now, which is cool. And I've really, really enjoyed this tonight.
Actually, Mr. Sensible, isn't this your longest stream?
Not sure. I think I've got another one about this length, but I'm not sure.
I was just saying, I can hear some movement upstairs. I'm a guest here, so I'll say good morning to you all, or have a good evening, whatever it may be for you, and look forward to chatting again sometime.
Thank you very, very much, Ross. And we've talked a few times. Well, I know we've talked on someone else's channel, and we've interacted on chat. So hopefully now you do feel that I'm comfortable to work with and trustworthy and treat you respectfully.
Yeah, likewise, mate. And
cool.
Probably that in a stupid comment.
I don't mind the odd dig that you make. That's fine, mate. You take care and have yourself a great Christmas, Ross.
Cheers, you too.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and Ross, don't forget Discord. We can talk.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not doing much over the next week or myself, so I'm just cruising around and bashing out a few songs on the guitar or something, having a few beers.
Oh well, a few beers. That's vitamin B. You got to have 6 of them to get vitamin B6.
Hey, if you two carry on like this, you'll be getting jiggy with each other. I've just had a super chat for £1.99 from 9O'clockhero saying, "Give another 30 minutes."
Are we really that much fun? 9O'clockhero, are we really that much fun?
Or perhaps he just wants to get a word in edgeways.
Everyone just in an Aussie accent, I reckon.
Maybe we should ask the chat. Should we go on for another 30 minutes?
Oh,
then?
great! I'll just leave.
So we're gonna...
Shall I just leave the stream running and go to bed?
Yeah. No, you're stuck. You're stuck, Mr. Sensible. We've taped you to the chair. I've just stolen Men in Black guy, and he's behind you right now. You can't see him.
Oh, are we talking about Simon Dan's NASA agent dude?
Yes. He now works for me.
Oh, does he?
The funny thing is, he's like an elephant. He works for peanuts.
I just see a comment in the Discord from a John Rapp.
Simon Dan. Where?
That some of my views are based on misconceptions.
Where is Simon Dan? Someone talking about Simon Dan. You'll see that in a minute when the video comes through.
Oh God, am I muted or am I? Can people hear me?
I can hear you now, Nine.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's on screen now.
Another half hour.
You're not Simon Dan.
I'm not. I'm not Simon Dan. I don't pretend to be Simon Dan. I am nowhere near Simon Dan.
You're Simon Stan.
Simon's dad.
Simon Stan.
Stan was my dad's name.
Okay. I want to make a bet. I want to make a bet real quick. I say that comes up as a username in 5 minutes.
So what?
Simon Stan.
Simon Stan.
Simon Stan. Oh my lord.
That'd be
I
interesting.
take it John Rapp doesn't want to come on and
I'm
tell
not
me
working
what.
for any agency, ugly German truths. Oh, so I'm watching a chat. I've not been looking at the chat and doing anything, but 30 minutes. So last 30 minutes. Okay, let's go back for a few hours. Talking about the military. I had an uncle who worked for the RAF. God rest his soul. Told me about an incident where I'm going back a few hours ago. So you need to, if you're not up on this, you need to watch this again. You need to review this and watch this once it's republished. So, am I muted?
No, you're talking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I had an uncle who worked for the RAF. Yeah, told me about. I'm a degenerate arsehole. Yeah. My only claim to fame is that I ask questions and expect answers. But my uncle told me about this experience where military were travelling along country lanes, lorry tripped over with 4 missiles, which is all that he would say, missiles, that were, I don't know. But the whole area was shut down while this big military operation was in operation, and to clear up and pick up these missiles from this truck that tipped over. And I don't know if the guys who still drive trucks are still on board here. But I have to ask questions about and Mr. Sensible, you said you were HGV drive. I'm a little man. I used to drive a 7.5-ton truck. You must have seen some of the fucking idiots. Oh, excuse my French. Oh, sorry, but you must have some of the people that drive. Life people drive on the road. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because I'm not in the right frame of mind to continue this. So I'm gonna go.
And it's okay.
Yeah, we'll take it some other time. Listen, guys, I'm actually starting to. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but I've been coming down with this cold, and I'm really starting to suffer now. I haven't got an early start tomorrow, but I have got a full shift tomorrow. So I think I am going to have to end it. So, like usual, and for those of you who first time on, what I do, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze again. Is I'd like each of you to have any last words. Today, I think I'll start at the top of the list. So that's you, Bard. Anything? Any last few words to wrap up with?
Well, I hope everybody has happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or whatever else you celebrate, and drive safe out there. Don't be an idiot with a truck. Give us room, please.
Cool. And next, we got you, Ross.
Yeah, cool. It's been great chatting with all you guys. Sorry to hear about you getting cold. One of my first favourite topics was actually of health. My intentions were when I first there was to actually be a naturalist, and finding that I disagreed with a lot of the teaching, so I decided not to go down that path. But yeah, I'm quite well aware of how diet can your just what's the bloody word? I won't come out. Your susceptibility to catching things like colds and that. Basically, your body just trying to eliminate mucus. The less dairy and less meat you eat, the mucus you have to expel. So good luck with that. And hope you have a nice cleansing and recover well.
Thank you. Listen, you honestly, you have a great Christmas, and we'll catch up with you some other time. Hopefully on the stream again. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No worries.
All the best, man. All the best. So that takes you to 9. If you're ready to have a word now, or do you want me to skip to Philosopher?
No, I'm good. I want to wish everyone a happy Christmas. Spaghetti Monster wishes you all the best. And you truckers, a couple of truckers on the chat line. So you truckers, I have the deepest respect for you all. As a driver, never driven out of a 7.5 ton.
Perhaps you want to get your class 2 and your class 1, mate.
Yeah, I'm too old for that. But I have an understanding, and I respect all drivers, real drivers, not clowns. I'm digress. I digress. Merry Christmas, everyone. May God go with you.
Okay, cheers. And Philosopher.
Yes, well, of course, I want to also wish everyone good happy holidays and all. Just to hammer in the point, do not cut off a truck. They're bigger than you.
Yes.
Rules of physics apply to everybody, not just anyone else. If they hit you, you're going to scratch their bumper. They're going to fold your car over. So don't mess with that. But yeah, I just want to, I feel like I'm immortalized now in YouTube history because I've been on with the great and prestigious Mr. Sensible.
Thank you very much, Philosopher. It's good
I'm
to
gonna
have you
have
on
to
here.
eat some cheese. I have to eat some cheese, definitely. And for that cold, Mr. Sensible, I would like to recommend hot, salty, and spicy soup, or like ramen or something like that. It will really clear the sinuses.
Okay.
Or if you got a Taco Bell, go get some of the hottest sauce that they have and just put it on your tongue.
Unfortunately,
well, no, Taco Bell
Taco
clears out
Bells
the other.
here. No Taco Bells. Well, I suppose they might be in London, but not any that I know.
But
Mackie
yeah,
D's.
yeah. Again, a pleasure to be here, and it's been hilarious. And I just want to just note, in case anybody didn't catch it, I do want to again thank Ross for being very mature and very reasonable. Like not getting all crazy and stuff, like how some people do.
Yeah,
and
Ross is a good one. No issues there.
I just come on a little bit. Like I said, I got a little bit of Team Skeptic in me already. So
That's
truth be told, I had that all the time. But
well, that's all right. But if you and Ross,
I'm being a good boy today.
If you and Ross can have a chat, come up with an arrangement, then I will gladly host. Okay. I am going to have to start it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the voice. You guys in the arena.
1 minute.
Oh, but in a second I will. I'll switch it off. I'll tell you when. But you'll be able to then carry on chatting.
As I've already said, there's a lot of people out there. I just want to wish Merry Christmas to everybody, and Christmas. You can believe what you want. You can understand what you want, but the big thing is to change your mind.
Open your mind. Be willing.
Open your mind. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Okay, sound is off. Everyone who's been out here in chat today, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had great fun, absolutely great fun. Rather a lively discussion today. And it was good to have Ross on here, and I'll happily have him on here again. I would want to wish all of you, viewers, those of you who have liked, my subscribers, my patrons, and those who've joined me tonight, a very, very happy Christmas and a wonderful new year, and I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Until then, stay sensible and take care.
Grr.